Greetings, you two munchers. I hope you're ready for another special VOD. This is another VOD stream incentive from the subathon that chat has achieved by being so generous. Today, we're doing some fanfiction reading. What fanfictions? I don't know. These are all ones submitted by chat. I'm pulling straight from the Discord. I have not read these ahead of time. I don't even know the content of them. They could be silly. They could be funny. They could be horny. Could be all the above. We'll have to see. Tonight in Seattle, it's 57 degrees out, and there's actually a nice light rain happening. Perfectly setting the mood for myself, and hopefully for the rest of you. Enjoy the sounds of my voice. Maybe this will help you sleep or laugh. I don't know. I can't promise either. But this should be enjoyable, should be funny. And we're just going to read some different fan fictions. Our first sample is apparently a pretty famous one. This one is called My Immortal. By my understanding, it's Harry Potter? I want to say. May not read the whole thing, but maybe at least a little bit. Don't know what to expect, but I hope you all enjoy. Chapter 1. Hi, my name is Ebony Darkness Dimension Ravenway, and I have long, ebony, black hair. That's how I got my name. You had hair when you were a baby? With purple streaks and red tips that reaches my mid-back, and icy blue eyes like limpid tears. And a lot of people tell me I look like Amy Lee. Author's note. If you don't know who she is, get the hell out of here. All right, I don't know who that is. So that was My Immortal. I hope you all enjoyed. And I'm not related to Gerard Way, but I wish I was because he's a because he's a major fucking hottie. Okay, sorry. I'm a vampire, but my teeth are straight and white. I have pale white skin. I'm also a witch, and I go to a magic school called Hogwarts in England, where I'm in the 7th year. I'm 17. I'm a goth, in case you couldn't tell, and I wear mostly black. I love Hot Topic, and buy all my clothes from there. For example, today I was wearing a black corset with matching lace around it, and a black leather miniskirt, pink fishnets, and black combat boots. I was wearing black lipstick, white foundation, black eyeliner, and red eyeshadow. I was walking outside Hogwarts. It was snowing and raining, so there was no sun, which I was very happy about. A lot of preps stared at me. I put up my middle finger at them. This is not real. Hey, Ebony, shouted a voice. I looked up. It was Draco Malfoy. I also want to preface all of this that I don't know Harry Potter at all. So there's probably going to be a lot of Harry Potter references that I don't know or understand. What's up, Draco? I asked. Nothing, he said shyly. But then I heard my friends call me and I had to go away. Author's note. Is it good? Please tell me thanks. That was chapter 1? Chapter 1 was just a paragraph and then Draco said hi? Okay, chapter 2. The next day, I woke up in my bedroom. It was snowing and raining again, same time. I opened the door of my coffin and drank some blood from a bottle I had. My coffin was black ebony. That's so redundant. And inside, it was hot pink velvet with black lace on the ends. I got out of my coffin and took off my giant My Chemical Romance t-shirt, which I used for pajamas. Instead, I put on a black leather dress, a pentagram necklace, combat boots, and black fishnets on. I put on four pairs of earrings in my pierced ears. I put my hair in a kind of messy bun. My friend, Willow, woke up then and grinned at me. She flipped her long waist-length raven black hair with pink streaks. Okay, so you look so goddamn same. And opened her forest green eyes. She put on her Marilyn Manson t-shirt and with a black mini fishnets and pointy high-heeled boots. We put on our makeup. Black lipstick, white foundation, black eyeliner. You know, just in case. Oh, MFG, I saw you talking to Draco Malfoy yesterday, she said excitedly. Yes, so, I said, blushing. Do you like Draco? She asked as we went out of the Slytherin common room and into the Great Hall. No, I so fucking don't, I shouted. Yeah, right, she exclaimed. Just then, Draco walked up to me. Hi, he said. Hi, I replied flirtily. Guess what? He said. What? I asked. Well, Good Charlotte are having a concert in Hogsmeade, he told me. Oh my fucking God, I screamed. I love Good Charlotte. They're my favorite band, besides My Chemical Romance. Well, do you want to go with me? He asked. I gasped. That was chapter 2. So, chapter 3 then? Okay. All right. On the night of the concert, I put on my black lace-up boots with high heels. Underneath them were ripped red fishnets. Then I put on a black leather mini dress with all this corset stuff on the back and front. I put on matching fishnets on my arms. I straightened my hair and made it look all spiky. I felt a little depressed then. Yeah. You know what? That's not funny. Shouldn't joke about self-harm. I'm just gonna skip over that line. Oh boy. Woo! I read a depressing book. What, like Old Yeller? Where the red fern grows, or fuck. All right, sorry. While I waited for it to stop bleeding and I listened to some Good Charlotte, I painted my nails black and put on tons of black eyeliner. Then I put on some black lipstick. I didn't put on foundation because I was pale anyway. I drank some human blood, so I was ready to go to the concert. I went outside. Draco was waiting there in front of his flying car. He was wearing a Simple Plan t-shirt. They would play at the show too. Baggy black skater pants, black nail polish, and a little eyeliner. Yeah, that's what Draco looks like. Hi, Draco, I said in a depressed voice. Hi, Ebony, he said back. We walked into his flying black Mercedes-Benz, the license plate said 666, and flew to the place with the concert. On the way, we listened excitedly to Good Charlotte and Marilyn Manson. Oh, we both smoked cigarettes and drugs? So fucking cool. When we got there, we both hopped out of the car. We went to the mosh pit at the front of the stage and jumped up and down as we listened to Good Charlotte. Chat, help me out. Can you name one Good Charlotte song for me that I would know? Like, I feel like I know the band, but I would not be able to immediately pick a single Good Charlotte song. That's just for me. You come in cold, you're covered in blood. They're all so happy you've arrived. Your doctor cuts your cold, hands you to your mom. She sets you free into his life, sang Joel. Is that a song? I can't even name a bad Charlotte song. Joel is so fucking hot, I said to Draco, pointing to him as he sung, filling the club with his amazing voice. Suddenly, Draco looked sad. What's wrong? I asked as we moshed to the music. Then I caught on. Hey, it's okay. I don't like him better than you, I said. Really? Asked Draco sensitively, and he put his arm around me all protective. Really? I said. Besides, I don't even know Joel. And he's going out with Hillary fucking Duff. I fucking hate that little bitch. Is that real? I said disgustingly, thinking of her ugly blonde face. Okay, rude. The night went on really well, and I had a great time. So did Draco. After the concert, we drank some beer and asked Benji and Joel for their autographs and photos with them. We got Good Charlotte concert tees. Draco and I crawled back into the Mercedes-Benz, but Draco didn't go back into Hogwarts. Instead, he drove the car into the Forbidden Forest. Chapter 4. Draco, I shouted. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Draco didn't answer, but he stopped at the flying car and he walked out of it. I hope he landed first? I walked out of it too, curiously. What the fucking hell? I asked angrily. Ebony, he asked. What? I snapped. Draco leaned in extra close, and I looked into his gothic red eyes. He was wearing color contacts, which revealed so much depressing sorrow and evilness, and then suddenly I didn't feel mad anymore. And then, suddenly, just as I Draco kissed me passionately, okay, Draco climbed on top of me, and we started to make out keenly against a tree. He took off my top, and I took off of his clothes. I even took off my bra. then he put his thingy into my you-know-what, and we did it for the first time. Oh, fuck. You're gonna make me put your thingy in me. Ah! Oh, I screamed. I was beginning to get an orgasm. We started to kiss everywhere, and my pale body became all warm. And then... What the hell are you doing, you motherfuckers? It was Dumbledore, he said calmly. Holy shit. Oh boy. Well, how many chapters is this? 44? Yeah, we'll see. Dumbledore made and Draco and I follow him. He kept shouting at us angrily. You ludicrous fools, he shouted. I started to cry tears of blood down my pallid face. Draco comforted me. When we went back to the castle, Dumbledore took us to Professor Snape and Professor McGonagall, who were both looking very angry. They were having sexual intercourse in the Forbidden Forest, he yelled in a furious voice. Why did you do such a thing, you mediocre dunces? asked Professor McGonagall. How dare you? Demanded Professor Snape. You're just saying words. And then Draco shrieked, because I love her! Sorry, he shrieked, because I love her! Everyone was quiet. Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall still looked mad at Professor Snape. But Professor Snape said, Fine, very well. You may go up to your room. Draco and I went upstairs while the teachers glared at us. Are you okay, Ebony? Draco asked me gently. Yeah, I guess, I lied. I went to the girls' dorm and brushed my teeth and my hair and changed into a low-cut black floor-length dress with red lace all around it and black high heels. When I came out, Draco was standing in front of the bathroom, and he started to sing, I just want to live by good child. Damn, dude, save some pussy for the rest of us. I was so flattered, even though he wasn't supposed to be there. We hugged and kissed. After that, we said goodnight, and he reluctantly went back into his room. I love how the only defining features they have to make sure that you know that Ebony is a goth is purely on what she's wearing. So anytime clothes are involved, her appearance will be described in excruciating detail. Chapter 6. The next day, I woke up in my coffin. I put on a black miniskirt that was ripped all around the end and a matching top with red skulls all over it and high-heeled boots that were black. I put on 2 pairs of skull earrings and 2 crosses in my ears. I spray-painted my hair with purple. In the Great Hall, I ate some... I ate some Count Chocula cereal with blood and stuff. Oh, God. Serious. And a glass of red blood. Suddenly, someone bumped into me. All the blood spilled over my top. Bastard! I shouted angrily. I regretted saying it when I looked up because I was looking into the pale white face of a gothic boy with spiky black hair with red streaks in it. He was wearing so much eyeliner that I was going down his face, and he was wearing black lipstick. He didn't have glasses anymore, and now he was wearing red contact lenses just like Draco's, and there was no scar on his forehead anymore. He had a manly stubble on his chin. He had a sexy English accent. He looked exactly like Joel Madden. He was so sexy that my body went all hot when I saw him, kind of like... He was so sexy that my body went all hot when I saw him. Kind of like an erection, only I'm a girl, so I didn't get one, you sicko. Woo! I'm so sorry, he said in a shy voice. That's all right. What's your name? I questioned. My name's Harry Potter, although most people call me Vampire these days. Why? I exclaimed. Because I love the taste of human blood, he giggled. Well, I'm a vampire, I confessed. Really? He whimpered. Yeah, I roared. Yeah! We sat down to talk for a while. Then Draco came up behind me and told me he had a surprise for me, so I went away with him. Yeah, you're gonna have to let me know exactly how many chapters of this you really want. Like, what's your limit? Because my God. Chapter 7. Titled Bring Me to Life. Draco and I held our pale white hands with black nail polish as we went upstairs. I was wearing red Satanist sings on my nails in red nail polish. Author's note. See, does that sound like a Maru suit to you? I waved to Vampire. Dark misery was in his depressed eyes. I guess he was jealous for me and that I was going out with Draco. Anyway, I went upstairs excitedly with Draco. We went into his room and locked the door. Then...
I think my limit was the beginning.
Honestly, same. We started Frenching passively? And we took off each other's clothes enthusiastically. Which is it? He felt me up before I took off my top. Then I took off my black leather bra and he took off his pants. We went on the bed and started making out naked, and then he put his boy's thingy in mine and we had sex! All caps. Oh, Draco, Draco, I screamed while getting an orgasm when all of a sudden I saw a tattoo that I had never seen before on Draco's arm. It was a black heart with an arrow through it. On it, in bloody Gothic writing were the words, Vampire? I was so angry. You bastard! I shouted angrily, jumping out of bed. No, you don't understand, Draco pleaded, but I knew too much. No, you fucking idiot, I shouted. You probably have AIDS anyway? Uh-huh. I put on my clothes all huffily and then stomped out. Draco ran out even though he was naked. He had a really big you-know-what, but I was too mad to care. I stomped out and did so until I was in Vampire's classroom where he was having a lesson with Professor Snape and some other people. Vampire Potter, you motherfucker, I yelled. Chapter 8. Everyone in the class stared at me, and then Draco came into the room, even though he was naked, and started begging me to take him back. Ebony, it's not what you think, Draco screamed sadly. My friend Bloody Mary Smith smiled at me understatedly. She flipped her long, waist-length Gothic black hair and opened her crimson eyes like blood that she was wearing contact lenses on. She had pale white skin that she was wearing white makeup on. They all look exactly the same. Hermione was kidnapped when she was born. What? What? Her real parents are vampires, and one of them is a witch, but Voldemort killed her mother, and her father committed suicide because he was depressed about it. She still has nightmares about it, and she is very haunted and depressed. It also turns out her real last name is Smith and not... I'm gonna go with Granger? So Bloody Mary Smith is Hermione? Sure. What is it that you desire, you ridiculous dimwit? Snape demeaned angrily in his cold voice, but I ignored him. Vampire, I can't believe you cheated on me with Draco. I shouted at him. Everyone gasped. I don't know why Ebony... What? Who's talking right now? I don't know why Ebony was so mad at me. I went out with Vampire. I'm bi, and so is Ebony. I guess we're Draco now? Okay. For a while, but then he broke my heart. He dumped me because he liked Brittany? A stupid preppy fucker. We were just good friends now. He had gone through horrible problems, and now he was gothic. Haha, like I would hang out with a prep. But I'm not going out with Draco anymore, said Vampire. Yeah, fucking right. Fuck off, you bastard. I screamed. Okay, so we're Ebony again. Jesus. I can't keep up. I ran out of the room and into the forbidden forest where I had lost my virility to Draco. And then I started to bust into tears. This girl toxic AF. Chapter 9? I was so mad and sad. I couldn't believe Draco for cheating on me. I began to cry against the tree where I did it with Draco. Then, all of a suddenly, an horrible man with red eyes and no nose, and everything started flying towards me on a broomstick. He didn't have a nose, basically like Voldemort in the movie, and he was wearing all black, but it was obvious he wasn't gothic. It was Voldemort. I saw a guy. He looked basically like exactly like Voldemort in the movie. Anyway, so it was Voldemort. No, I shouted in a scared voice, but then Voldemort shouted, Imperious, and I couldn't run away. Crookshanks, I shouted at him. Am I allowed to say that word? Voldemort fell off his broom and started to scream. Like he scraped his knee. I felt bad for him, even though I'm a sadist, so I stopped. Ebony, he yelled. Thou must kill Vampire Potter. I thought about Vampire and his sex eyes, and his gothic black hair, and how his face looks just like Joel Madden. I remembered that Draco had said I didn't understand, so I thought, what if Draco went out with Vampire before I went out with them and they broke up? Yeah, I know, you dumb bitch. What if? No, Voldemort, I shouted back. Voldemort gave me a gun! Fuck. Alright, you got me. Oh, shit. You must kill Potter. Here you go. No, please, I begged. Thou must, he yelled. If thou dost not, then I shall kill thy beloved Draco. How did you know? I asked in a surprised way. Voldemort got a Nope. Not saying that. Look on his face. I have telekinesis. That's not what that means. I guess you use telekinesis to hand her the gun? He answered cruelly. And if you doth not kill Vampire, then thou know what will happen to Draco, he shouted. Then he flew away angrily on his broomstick. I was so scared and mad I didn't know what to do. Suddenly, Draco came into the woods. Draco, I said. Hi! Hi, he said back, but his face was all sad. He was wearing white foundation and messy eyeliner, kind of like a pentagram, get it? Between Joel Madden and Gerard Way. Always describe what they look like, always. Are you okay? I asked. No, he answered. I'm sorry I got all mad at you, but I thought you cheated on me. I expelled. That's okay, he said all depressed, and we went back into Hogwarts together, making out. Did he notice the gun? I know, they keep saying Joel Madden, I keep thinking John Madden, the football guy. Oh boy. Chapter 10. I was really scared about Voldemort all day. I was even upset, went to rehearsals with my gothic metal band, Bloody Gothic Rose 666. This has to be fake. This has to be fake. There's no way someone wrote this when it was earnest about it. This has to be fake. I am the lead singer of it, and I play guitar. People say that we sound like a cross between Good Charlotte, Slipknot, and My Chemical Romance. The other people in the band are Bloody Mary, Vampire, Draco, Ron, although we call him Diablo now. He has black hair now with blue streaks in it. And Hardred? Everyone black hair, but different colored streaks. Only today, Draco and Vampire were depressed, so they weren't coming, and we wrote songs instead. I knew Draco was probably slitting his wrists. He couldn't die because he was a vampire too, and the only way you can kill a vampire is with a CROSS. There's no way I'm writing that, or a steak. You definitely wrote steak like a piece of meat. And Vampire was probably watching a depressing movie like The Corpse Bride. I put on a black leather shirt that showed off my boobs and tiny matching miniskirt that said Simple Plan on the butt. You might think I'm a slut, but I'm really not. I'm convinced. We were singing a cover of Helena, and at the end of the song, I suddenly burst into tears. Ebony, are you okay? Bloody Mary asked me in a concerted voice. What the fuck do you think? I asked angrily, and then I said, well, Voldemort came and the fucking bastard told me to fucking kill Harry, but I don't want to kill him because he's really nice, and even if he did go with Draco, but if I don't kill Harry, then Voldemort will fucking kill Draco. I burst into tears. Suddenly Draco jumped out from behind a wall? Are y'all talking about me? Why didn't you fucking tell me? He shouted. How could you, you fucking poser muggle bitch? I started to cry and cry. Draco started to cry too, all sensitive. Then he ran out crying. Jerdlurk. We practiced for 1 more hour. Alright, yeah, I guess fuck him. We'll keep practicing. And then suddenly Dumbledore walked in angrily. His eyes were all fiery. I knew this time it wasn't because he had a headache. What have you done? He started to cry wisely. See, that's basically nut swearing, and this time he was really upset, and you will see why. Why does her author notes, why does she write like a random penguin of doom? Ebony Draco has been found in his room. He committed suicide by slitting his wrists. Oh, fuck. Chapter 11. No, I screamed. I was horrified. Bloody Mary tried to comfort me, but I told her to fuck off, and I ran to my room crying myself. Dumbledore chased after me shouting, but he had to stop when I went into my room because he would look like a perv that way. Got him. Anyway, I started crying tears of blood, and then I split both my wrists. Jesus, you're gonna run out of wrists. They got all over my clothes, so I took them off and jumped into the bath angrily while I put on a Linkin Park song at full volume. Sometimes, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. I grabbed a stake and almost stuck it into my heart to commit suicide. I was so fucking depressed. I got out of the bathtub and I put on a black low-cut dress with lace all over it. Sandly? Again. Gotta know what she looks like. I put on black high heels with pink metal stuff on the ends and 6 pairs of skull earrings. I couldn't fucking believe it. Then I looked out the window and screamed. Snap was spying on me and he was taking a videotape of me. And Lupin was masticating to it? They were sitting on their broomsticks. So Lupin was eating something? Ew, you fucking perv, stop looking at me naked. Are you PDF files or what? I screamed, putting on a black towel with a picture of Marilyn Manson on it. Suddenly, Vampire ran in. Abracadabra, he yelled at Snape and Lupin, pointing his womb? I took my gun and shot Snape. Anyway, I started blasting. A gazillion times, and they both started screaming and the camera broke. Suddenly, Dumbledore ran in. Ebony, it has been revealed that someone has... No! He shouted, looking at Snape and Lupin, and then he waved his wand, and suddenly... Hargrid ran outside on his broom, and everyone said, "We need to talk." "What do you know, Hargrid? You're just a little Hogwarts student." "I may be a Hogwarts student," Hargrid paused angrily, "but I am also a Satanist." "This cannot be," Snap said in a crisp voice as blood dripped from his hand where Dumbledore's wand had shot him. "There must be other factors." "You don't have any!" I yelled in madly. Lupin held up the camera, oh god, triumphantly? "The lens may be ruined, but the tape is still there." I felt faint, more than I normally do, like how it feels when you do not drink enough blood. "Why are you doing this?" Lupin said angrily while he rubbed his dirty hands on his kluk? His kluk? And then I heard the words that I had heard before, but not from him. I did not know whether to feel shocked and happy or to bite him and drink his blood because I felt faint. Because, Hargrid said, and he paused in the air dramatically, waving his wand in the air. Then swooped he in, singing it to the tune of a gothic version of a song by 50 Cent? Fucking what? Those old 50 Cent songs. But goth. "Because you're gothic?" Snap asked in a little afraid voice because he was afraid it meant he was connected with Satan. "Because I love her!" So that's 3 people that all want to bang Ebony? Do I have that right? Oh boy. Fanfiction reading cringe hurts me in a way I can't handle. Oh, dude. Hey, you know what? Same. I hate this. I am so uncomfortable and I want out. I don't have a choice. Chapter 12. Who wouldn't want to bang Ebony? Oh, dude, you're right. Did you see what she was wearing? I was about to slit my wrists again with the silver knife that Drago had given me in case anything happened to him. He had told me to use it valiantly against an enemy, but I knew that we must both go together. "No, I thought it was hair grid, but it was vampire," he started to scream. "OMFG, no, my scar hurts," and then his eyes rolled up. You could only see his red whites. I stopped. "How did you know?" "I saw it, and my scar turned back into the lightning bolt." "No," I ran up closer. "I thought you didn't have a scar anymore," I shouted. "I do, but Diabolo changed it into a pentagram for me, and I always covered up with foundation," he said back. "Anyway, my scar hurt and it turned back into the lightning bolt. Save me." Then I had a vision of what was happening to Draco. Voldemort has him bondage. Anyway, I was in the school nurse's office, now recovering from my slit wrists. Snap and Lupin and Harrid were there too. They were going to St. Mango's after they recovered because they were PDF files, yeah. And you can't have those fucking pervs teaching in a school with lots of hot girls. Gurlz. Dumbledore had constipated the Sidio camera he constipated the Sidio camera they took of me naked. I put up my middle finger at them. Got him. Anyway, Hargrid came into my hospital bed holding a bouquet of pink roses. And Nubi, I need to tell you something, he said in a V-serious voice, giving me the roses. "Fuck off," I told him. "You know I fucking hate the color pink anyway, and I don't like fucked up preps like you." She has repeatedly worn pink. I snapped. Hargrid had been mean to me before being gothic. "No, Ennaby," Hargrid says. "Those are not roses." "What, are they goths too, you poser prep?" I asked because I was angry that he had brought me pink roses. "I saved your life," he yelled angrily. "No, you didn't," I replied. You saved me from getting a Harris Hilton You saved me from getting a Hilton P video made from your shower scene and being viewed by Snap and Lupin, who masturbated to it, he added silently. Oh, fuck. Whatever, I yelled angrily. He pointed his wand at the pink roses. These aren't roses. He suddenly looked at them with an evil look in his eye and muttered, well, if you want honesty, that's all you had to say? That's not a spell. That's an MCR song, I corrected him wisely. I know, I was just warming up my vocal cords. Then he screamed, oh, God. Petulus Marengo mi Kermicli Romasio. For all you cool gothic MCR fans out there, that is a tribute. Especially for Raven. I love you, girl. Imonoto Okeo. And then the roses turned into a huge black flame floating in the middle of the air. And it was black. And I knew he wasn't a prep. Okay, I believe you now. What the fuck is Draco? Harrogred rolled his eyes. I looked into the balls of flame, but I could see nothing. You see, Ennaby, Dumbledore said, watching the two of us watching the flame. To see what is in the flames, you must find yourself first, Kay? I have found myself, okay, you mean old man? Hagrid yelled. Dumbledore looked shocked. I guess he didn't have a headache or else he would have said something back. Hagrid stormed off back into his bed. You are a liar, Prof. Dumbledore! This is like falling apart at the seams. Before my very eyes. Anyway, when I got better, I went upstairs and put on black leather mini dress that was all ripped on the ends with lace on it. There was some corset stuff on the front. Then I put on black fishnets and black high-heeled boots with pictures of Billy Joel Armstrong on them. I put my hair all out around me so I looked like Samara from The Ring. If you don't know who she is, you're a prep, so fuck off. And I put on blood red lipstick, black eyeliner, and black lip gloss. You look kawaii, girl, said Bloody Mary. Bangs, you do too. I said sadly too, but I was still upset. God. I slit both my wrists, feeling totally depressed, and I sucked all the blood. I cried again in my bathroom, put the shades on so Snap and Lupin couldn't spy on me this time. I went to some classes. Vampire was in the hair of magic creatures. He looked all depressed because Draco had disappeared. He had used to be in love with Draco. He was sucking some blood from a Hufflepuff. Hi, he said in a depressed way. Hi back, I said in an wickedly said way. We both looked at each other for some time. Harry had beautiful red gothic eyes, so much like Draco's. Then we jumped on each other and started screwing each other? Stop it now, you horny simpletons! Oh, sorry, I was saying that to chat. The next part of the story is, stop it now, you horny simpletons! Shouted Professor McGonagall, who was watching us, and so was everyone else. Vampire, you fucker, I said, slapping him. Stop trying to screw me. You know I love Draco, I shouted, and then I ran away angrily. Just then he started to scream. Oh my fucking god, no, my scar hurts. And then his eyes rolled up. You could only see his red whites. No, I ran up closer. I thought you didn't have a scar anymore, I shouted. We just went through this. I do, but Diablo changed it to a pentagram for me, and I always cover up with foundation. Remember? Anyway, my scar hurt, and then I had a vision of what was happening to Draco. Oh, Voldemort has him bondage. Was this supposed to be like a flashback? Or did they just copy paste? What the fuck? Y'all really like this, huh? I don't want to be here anymore. No. I mean, I don't know if you're actually expecting good ones. We'll see how much more of this I can stomach, because this it feels it's becoming a parody of itself. Chapter 17, make it that far, please. Okay, if Chapter 17 is the good one. Vampire and I ran up the stairs looking for Dumbledore. We were so scared. Dumbledore, Dumbledore, we both yelled. Dumbledore came there. Phrasing.
Is this our punishment for having you play hide-lide?
Yes. What is it you want now, you despicable snobs? He asked angrily. Voldemort has Draco, we shouted at the same time. He laughed in an evil voice. No, don't. We need to save Draco, we begged. No, he said meanly. I don't give a darn what Voldemort does to Draco. Not after how much he misbehaved in school, especially with you, Ebony, he said while he frowned, looking at me. Besides, I never liked him that much anyway. Then he walked away. Vampire started crying. My Draco, he moaned. Author's note. Don't you thick gay guys are like so hot? I'm even going to try to parse all the problems with that. It's okay, I tried to tell him, but that didn't stop him. He started to cry tears of blood. Then he had a brainstorm. I had an idea, he exclaimed. What? I asked him. You'll see, he said. He took out his wand and did a spell. Then, suddenly, we were in Voldemort's lair. We ran in with our wands out just as we heard a crooned voice say, Alakadabra! It was Voldemort. Oh, shit. Okay, so warning. Some of this chapter is extremely scray. Violwer excretion advised. What happened to the gun? It ran out of bullets, obviously. She shot him a gazillion times. We ran to where Voldemort was. It turned out that Voldemort wasn't there. Instead, the fat guy who killed Cedric was? What? Draco was there crying tears of blood. Snaketail was torturing him. Vampire and I ran in front of Snaketail. Rid my sight, you despicable preps, he shouted as we started shooting him with the gun. He then suddenly looked at me and he fell down with a lovey-dovey look in his eyes. Period, he said. See? All right, there you go. He still has the gun. Huh? I asked. Enyabi, I love you. Enyabi, I love you. Will you have sex with me? Asked Snaketail. I started laughing crudely. What the fuck? You torture my boyfriend and then you expect me to fuck you? God, you are so fucked up, you fucking bastard. I said angrily. Then I stabbed him in the heart. Blood poured out of it like a fountain. No, he screamed. He started screaming and running around. Then he fell down and died. I burst into tears sadly. Snaketail, what art thou doing? Called Voldemort. Then he started coming. We could hear his high heels clacking to us. So we got on our broomsticks and we flew to Hogwarts. We went to my room. Vampire went away. There I started crying. What's wrong, honey? Asked Draco, taking off his clothes so we could screw. He had a sex pack. Get it? 'Cause he's so sexa? And a really huge you-know-what and everything. It's so unfair, I yielded. Why can't I just be ugly or plain like all the other girls and preps here except for Bloody Mary because she's not ugly or anything? Why would you want to be ugly? I don't like preps anyway. They are such fucking sluts, answered Draco. Oh my god. Yeah, but everyone is in love with me. Like Snape and Lupin took a video of me naked. Hagrid says he's in love with me. Vampire likes me and now even Snaketail's in love with me. Snaketail's fucking dead. I just want to be with you, okay, Draco? Why couldn't Satan have made me less beautiful? I shouted angrily. And don't worry, Ennaby isn't a snob or anything, but a lot of people have told her she's pretty. I'm good at too many things. Why can't I just be normal? It's a fucking curse! I shouted, and then I ran away. Chapter 15. Ebony, Ebony, shouted Draco sadly. No, please come back. But I was too mad. Whatever. Nah, you can go and have sex with Vampire, I shouted. Fucking pick a lane. Christ. I stormed into my room and closed my black black door with my blood red key. It had a picture of it had a picture of Marilyn Manson on it. Your key did? He looked so sexy in a way that reminded me of Draco and Vampire. I started to cry and weep. Oh, God, I took a razor and started to slit my wrists. I drank all the blood all depressed. Then I looked at my black Good Charlotte watch and noticed it was time to go to biology class. Just oh shit, I'm late for class. Fuck. Oh, what are you gonna wear? I put on a short, ripped black gothic dress that said anarchy on the front in blood red letters and was all ripped with a spiky belt. Under that, I put on ripped black fishnets and boots that said Joel all over them with blood red letters. I put my ebony black hair out. Anyway, I went downstairs feeling all sad and depressed as usual. I did some advanced biology work. I was turning a bloody pentagram into a black guitar. Suddenly, the guitar turned to Draco? What? Enemy, I love you, he shouted sadly. I did not care what those fucker preps and posers think. Oh, God. You're the most beautiful girl in the world. Before I met you, I used to want to commit Sudoku all the time. Now I just want to fucking be with you. I fucking love you. Then he started to sing The Chronicles of Life and Death. We considered it our song now because we fell in love when Joel was singing it. Right in front of the entire class. His singing voice was so amazing and gothic and sexy, like a cross between Gerard, Joel, Chester, Pierre, and Marilyn Manson. Author's note. Don't you think those guys are so hot? If you do not know who they are, get the fuck out of here. Oh my OMFG, I said after he was finished. Some fucking preps stared at us, but I just stuck out my middle fingers that were covered in black nail polish that were entwined with Draco's now at them. I love you, I said, and then we started to kiss, just like Hilary Duff, I fucking hate that bitch, and CMM in a Cinderella story? CMM. I got nothing. Then we went away holding hands. Lupin shouted at us, but he stopped because everyone was clapping by how sexy we looked together. Then I saw a poster saying that My Chemical Romance would have a concert in Hogsmeade right then. We looked at each other all shocked, and then we went together. Another My Chemical Romance chapter? Alright, look, chapter 17 better be fucking glorious. Or you're all banned. Chapter 16. We ran happily to Hogsmeade. There we saw the stage where Good Charlotte had played. We ran in happily. My Chemical Romance were there playing Helena. Helena? I was so fucking happy. Gerard looked even sexier than he did in the pictures. Even Draco thought so. I could totally see him getting an erection, but it didn't matter because I knew how that we were the only true ones for each other. I was wearing a black leather mini dress and black leather platinum boots with red ripped fishnets. Draco was wearing a black baggy My Chemical Romance t-shirt and a black baggy pants. Anyway, we started moshing to Helena? We Frenched. Ran up to the front of the band to stage dive. Suddenly, Gerard pulled off his mask. So did the others. We gasped. It wasn't them at all. It was Voldemort and the Death Dealers. I don't know their music. Are they any good? What the fuck, Draco? I'm not going to a concert with you, I shouted angrily. You're already there. Not after what happened to me last time? Even if it's My Chemical Romance, and you know how much I lick them. What, cause he gadgeted uncomfortably. Cause guys don't like to talk about, you know what. Yeah, cause I yielded in an angry voice. We won't do that again, Draco promised. This time we're going with an escort. OMFG, WTF, are you giving into the mainstream? I asked. So I guess you're a Prip or a Christina or what now? What? No, he muttered loudly. Are you becoming a prep or what? I shooted angrily. Ennaby, I'm not. Please come with me. He fell down to his knees and started singing The World is Black by Good Charlotte to me. I was flattened because that's not even a single. He had memorized the lyrics just for me. Okay, then I guess I'll have to, I said, and then we Frenched for a while and I went up to my room. You guys, just that easy. Just that easy. Bloody Mary was standing there. Oh my god. Hajime girl, she said happily. She speaks Japanese, so do I. That meant how do you do in Japanese. BTW Willow, that fucking poser, got expelled. She failed all her classes and she skipped math. Author's note. Raven, you fucking suck. Fuck you. It serves that fucking bitch, that fucking biche right, I laughed angrily. Well, anyway, we were all felling, all depressed. We watched some gothic movies like Das Nightmare Before Xmas. Fuck, dude. Nightmare Before Christmas, so goth. Maybe Willow will die too, I said. Kawaii. Bloody Mare shook her head and liturgically. Oh yeah, have a confession. After she got expelled, I murdered her, and then Lupin did it with her because he's a necrophiliac? Uh-huh. Kawaii, I commented happily. We talked to each other in silence. What? How? You can't. What? For the rest of the movie. I want off this ride. Oh, hey, BTW. I'm going to a concert with Draco tonight in Hogsmeade with My Chemical Romance, I said. Wait, I thought you were already at the concert, and that's where Voldemort was, but now you're going to the concert? When is... I need to wear, like, the hottest hot set outfit ever. Bloody Mary nodded energetically. OMFG, totally, let's go shopping. And Hot Topic, right? I asked, already getting out my special Hot Topic loyalty card. No. My head snaped up. What? My head spooing. I could not believe it. Bloody Mary, are you a prep? No, she laughed. I found some cool gothic stores near Hogwarts, that's all. I've never seen anyone spell or say the word gothic as gothic. I guess I was just too much of a prep. Who told you about them? I asked, sure it would be Draco or Diablo or Vampire. Don't even say that name to me. Or me. Dumbledore, she said. Let me just call her Brahms. OMFFG Dumbledore? I asked quietly, in all caps. Yeah, I saw the map for Hogsmeade on his desk. She told me, come on, let's go. You know, not many authors can properly utilize an 82-act structure. Okay. We were going in a few punk goth stores, especially for the concert in Hogsmeade. The salesperson was OMG hotter than Gerard, except not because that's impossible, and he gave me a few dresses. When will you have these for the real goths? The real goths? Me and Bloody Mary asked. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many posers there are in this town, man. Yesterday, Lupin and Snap tried to buy a gothic camera pouch. He shook his head. I didn't even know they had a camera. OMFG, no, they're gonna spy on me again, I cried, running out of the changing room wearing a long black dress with lots of red tulle coming out and very low cut with a huge slit. Again, it's very important you know what they look like.
Did you say Jumbledore?
Jumbledore. Oh, my Satan, you have to buy that outfit, the salesperson said. Yeah, it looks totally hot, said Bloody Mary. You know what? I am going to give it to you for free, because you look really hot in that outfit. Hey, are you going to be at the concert tonight? He asked. Yeah, I am, actually. I looked back at him. Hey, BTW, my name's Ebony Darkness Dementia Terra. Wait, what's yours? Tom Ridd, he said, and ran a hand through his black dyed hair. Maybe I'll see you there tonight. Yeah, I don't think so, because I'm going there with my boyfriend Draco, you sick perv, I yelled angrily. But before he could beg me to go with him, Hairgrid flew in on his black broom looking worried. OMFG, Ebony, you need to get back into the castle now! Okay. Chapter 17. God, this better be worth it. No reading ahead, chat. No reading ahead. Tom Riddle gave us some clothes and stuff for free. He said he would help us with makeup if he wanted, because he was really into fashion and stuff. He's bisexual. Hairgrid kept shooting at us to come back to Hogwarts. WTF, Hairgrid? I shouted angrily. Fuck off, you yucking bastard. Well, anyway, Willow came. Hargrid went away angrily. Hey, bitch, you look kawaii, she said. Yeah, but not as kawaii as you, I answered sadly, because Willow's really pretty and everything. She was wearing a short black corset thingy with blood red lace on it and a black blood red miniskirt, leather fishnets, and black pointy boots that showed off how pale she was. She had a really nice body with big bobs and everything. She was thin enough to be anorexic? No, don't say that. So are you going to the concert with Draco? She asked. Yeah, I said happily. I'm going with Diablo, she answered happily. Well, anyway, Draco and Diablo came. They were both looking extremely hot and sexy, and you could tell they thought we were ought too. Diablo was wearing a black t-shirt that said 666 on it. He was wearing tons off makeup just like Marilyn Manson. Draco was wearing black leather pants, a gothic black Good Charlotte t-shirt, and black Vans he got from the Warped Tower. Bloody Mart was going to the concert with Dracola. Dracola? Dracola used to be called Naval, but it turned out that he was kidnapped at birth and his real family were vampires. Just like Hermione? Everyone's got the same backstory. They died in a car crash. Naval converted to Satanism and he went goth. He was in Slytherin now. He was wearing a black warped t-shirt, black jeans and shoes, and black hair with red streaks in it. We call him Dracula now.
Oops, all vampires.
Literally all of them. Well, anyway, we all went to Draco's Black Mercy Benz. Get it? Because we're... Gipific? That his dad Lucian gave him. We did pot, coke, and crack. Draco and I made out. We made fun of those stupid fucking preps. We soon got there. I gasped. Gerard was the sexiest guy ever. He looked even sexier than he did in pics. He had long, raven black hair and piercing blue eyes. He was really skinny and he had an amazing ethnic voice. We moshed to Helena and some other songs. Suddenly, Gerard pulled off his mask. Oh, we're back here, huh? So did the other membs. I gasped. It wasn't Gerard at all. It was an ugly, preppy man with no nose and red eyes. Everyone ran away but me and Draco. Draco and I came. It was Voldemort and the Death Dealer. You moronic idiots, he shouted angstily. Enderby, I told you to kill vampire. Thou have failed, and now I shall kill thou and Draco. No, please, we begged sadly, but he took out his knife. Suddenly, a gothic old man flew in on his broomstick. He had long black hair and a long black beard. He was wearing a black robe that said Avril Lavigne on the back. He shot it a spell and flat flop. Voldemort ran away. It was Dumbledore. My favorite goth. Avril Lavigne. This is not real. This is not real. I'm just going to finish this page and then I'm out. This is it. There's chapter 18, there's chapter 19, and then I'm fucking out. This is ludicrous. Okay. All right. I woke up the next day in my coffin. I walked out of it and put on some black eyeliner, black eyeshadow, blood bed lipstick, and a black, really low-cut leather dress that was all ripped and in stripes so you could see my belly. I was wearing a skull belly ring with black and red diamonds inside it. And now that we've established how our main character looks, we can move forward. The plot. Oh, the night before, Draco and I went back to the skull. Get it? Not instead of school, skull. Dumbledore chased Voldemort away. We flew there on our brooms. Mine was black, and the broom stuff was blood. The broom stuff was blood red. There was lace all over it. Draco had a black MCR broom. We went back to our rooms, and we had you know what to a Linkin Park song. Well, anyway, I went down to the Great Hall. There, all the walls were painted black, and the tables were black too. But you would see that there was pink pant underneath the black pant. And there were pastors of poser bands everywhere, like Ashley Simpson and the Backstreet Boys. Oh, finally! An actual good band mentioned? Alright, this got better. Everybody! Rock your body! Backstreet's back, alright! As a quick aside, I saw a post earlier that was pretty upsetting. It was about a millennial-aged mother who had a young teenage daughter, and she was saying that her young teenage daughter was very excited to show her mom that she learned the quote Deadpool dance, and she starts doing the quote Deadpool dance, and then the millennial mom's face just kind of like slowly sunk as she realized what the Deadpool dance is. I was equally upset. That kid's a poser. Deadpool dance. Child, I was there when Bye 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 was written! What's the Deadpool dance? NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. If you haven't seen the Deadpool movie, the entire opening sequence is to Bye Bye Bye. It fucking rules. There's a web series based on My Immortal Fanfiction. I need to watch it. I'll pass. And as someone who unironically loves NSYNC, I'm pretty sure I was the only idiot also doing the dance moves in my chair in the theater while it was happening. I'm very cool. Where was I? WTF! I shouted, going to sit next to Bloody Mary and Willow. Bloody Mary was wearing a black leather mini with a good Charlotte t-shirt, black fishnets, and black pointy boots. Willow was wearing a long gothic black dress with blood red writing that was all lacy and came up to your thighs, and black boots and fishnets. Vampire Dracula and Draco came. We started to talk about who was sexier, Mikey or Gerard Way or Billy Joe Armstrong. The boys joined in because they were bi. Those guys are so fucking hot, Navel was saying as suddenly a gothic old man with a black beard and everything came. He was the same one who chased away Voldemort yesterday. He had normal tan skin, but he was wearing white foundation and he dyed his hair black. Dumbledore! We all gasped. WTF, I shouted angrily. I thought he was just wearing that to scare Voldemort. Hello, everyone, he said happily. As you can see, I gave the room a makeover. What do you think about it? Everyone from the poser table in Gryffindor started to cheer. Well, we Goths just looked at each other all disgusted and shook our heads. We couldn't believe what a poser he was. By the way, you can call me Albert. He called as we left to our classes. What a fucking poser, Draco shouted angrily as we to transformation. We were holding hands. Vampire looked really jealous. I could see him crying blood in a gothic way. But I didn't say anything. I bet he's having a midlife crisis, Willow shouted. Actually, she's probably right. I was so fucking angry. Alright, last chapter I'm reading. All day we sat angrily, thinking about Dumbledore. We were so fucking pissed off. Well, I had one thing to look forward to. The MCR concert.
I know that I can take no more, it ain't no lie. I want to see you out that door. Baby bye bye bye, bye bye.
Hell yeah. Just another player in your game for two. It had been postponed, so we could all go. Anyway, I went to the common room, sadly, to cut classes. Draco was being all secretive. I asked what it was, and he got all mad at me and started crying all hot and angsty. Aren't sensitive bi guys so hot? No one fucking understands me, he shouted angrily as his black hair went in his big blue eyes like Billy Joe in Boulevard of Borkin Dreams? Wait, Billy Joe? That's the Green Day guy? He was wearing black baggy pants, a black MCR t-shirt, and a black dye. Get it? Because instead of tie, because I'm gothic. I was wearing a black leather low-cut top with chains all over it, a black leather mini, black high-held boots, and a cross-belly thing. My hair was all up in a messy, really high bun like Amy Lee in Gong Under. Email me if you want to see a depic. Accuse me? What about me? I growled. Bye, butt, he grunted. You fucking bastard. I moaned.
I want to hear how this voice says Dumbledore.
Dumbledore. No, wait, it's not what it fucking looks like, he shouted. Wait, who's mad at who now? But it was too late. I knew what I heard. I ran to the bathroom angrily. Cring. Draco banged on the door. I whipped and wept as my bloaty eyeliner streamed down my cheeks and made cool tears down my feces like Benji in the video for Girls and Boys. I took out a cigarette and started to smoke pot. Suddenly Hagrid came. He had appearated. You gave me a fucking shock, I shouted angrily, dropping my pot. What the fuck do you think you're doing in the girls' room? Only it wasn't just Hagrid. Someone else was with him too. For a second, I wanted it to be Tom Ridd or maybe Draco, but it was Dumbledore. Hey, I need to ask you a question, he said, pulling out his black wannabe gothic purse. What are you wearing to the concert? You know who MCR are? I gasped. No, I just saw there was a concert that a lot of goths and punks were going to, he said. Anyway, Draco has a surprise for you. Sorry, chapter 20. Chapter 20 is the last one. This is the end of the fucking page. We gotta get to the concert chat. Holy Christ. I'm dying. All day I wondered what the surprise was. Meanwhile, I put on a black letter. Back to the clothes. Black leather mini, a black corset with purple lace stuff all over it, and black gothic compact boots. MCR were going to do the concert again, since Voldemort had taken over the last one. I slit my wrists while I moshed to MCR in my bedroom all night, feeling excited. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door while I was trying on some black clothes and moshing to Fang You for the Venom. I got all mad and turned it off, But sacredly, I hopped inside that it was Draco so we could do it again. What the fucking hell are you doing? I shouted angrily. It was Lupin. Are you gonna come rape me or what? I yelled. I was allowed to say that because Dumbledore had told us all to be careful around him and Snap since he... no, actually, can I please borrow some condoms? He growled angrily. Yes, you can go fuck your 60-year-old girlfriend, huh? I shouted sarcastically. Fuker, he said, gong away. I'm glad we had that scene. That was important. Well, anyway, I put on some black eyeshadow, black eyeliner, and some black lipstick and white foundation. Then I went. Then I gasped. Snake and Lupin were in the middle of the empty hall. Doing it and Dobby was watching? What? Oh my god, you ludicrous idiot. They both shouted angrily when they saw me. Dobby ran away crying. They got up, though. Normally, I would have been turned on. I love seeing guys do it. But both of them were fucking preps. By the way, Snake is moved to Gryffindor now. What the fuck? Is that why you wanted condoms? I asked sadistically. Only you wouldn't give them to me, Lumpkin shouted angrily. Well, you should have told me, I replayed. You dimwit. Snake began to shoot angrily. And then I took out my black camera and took a pic of them. You could see that they were naked and everything. Well, excuse me, they both shouted angrily. What was that all about? It was to blackmail, I snarked. So now, next time you see me doing it with my boyfriend, you can't fucking rat me out or I'll show this to Dumbledore. So fuck off, you bastards. I started to run. They chased me, but I threw my wound at them and they tripped over it. Well, anyway, I went outside and there was Vampire looking extremely fucking hot. WTF, where'd Draco? I asked him. Oh, he's being a fucking bastard. He told me he wouldn't come. Vampire said, shaking his head. You want to come with me? To the concert? Then he showed me his flying car. I gasped. It was a black car. He said his dogfather, Sirius Black, had given it to him. The license plate on the front said MCR 666 on it. The one on the back said Ennaby on it. I gasped. We flew to the concert hall. MCR were there playing. Vampire and I began to make out, moshing to the music. I gasped, looking at the band. I almost had an orgasm. Gerard was so fucking hot. He began to sing Helena, and his sexa beautiful voice began to fill the hall. And then I heard some crying. I turned and saw Draco crying in a corner. This bitch sucks. She sucks so bad. My god. That was chapter 20 out of 44. There's a 5 years later update. Oh.
This fanfic is making me question life choices.
I mean, same. I'm sorry. So it's not a 5-year update to the story. Just the person who posted this was just saying, hey, 5 years later after I posted this, I didn't write this. I just posted it. Let's do a different one. All right, you guys want a good one? You guys want like an actual good one? Oh wait, hold on. Is he here?
Congrats, have some bits for making it to the other side.
Thank you. Is Jadale still here? It's important for him to be here. I might have to do another one if Jadale's not here. Because it was his submission. Alright, that was literally the very first thing posted. This one's titled Sonic's Ultimate Harem. There are, oh my god! There are 360 chapters? It was a beautiful day on planet Earth. The sun was shining, the people were just going about their business and taking in the peace and quiet. There was no screaming and running from any monster or robot attacks, nor were there any police responding to the usual bank robbery or two. Everything has been going very well for the citizens. Somewhere in the city, there was a familiar sight most of the city was used to. That sight being a blue, bipedal hedgehog wearing a black sleeveless shirt, a matching pair of black fingerless gloves, no, with blue highlights at the bottom of the wrist, baggy blue cargo pants with a dark blue design on his right leg, a pair of his iconic extreme gear glasses and sneakers, combination with the color of the latter being black with blue highlights instead of just the usual metallic crimson. Playfully playfully smirking while simultaneously shredding concrete on his skateboard just for the fun. However, despite the different wardrobe, everyone who saw the hog knew the identity quite well from the countless times he had saved the world from certain doom. Everyone who saw him knew that this creature was none other than the legendary blue blur, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Chad, get your bricks ready.
Yeah, could you just throw them all through my window and into my skull, please? His smirk now forming into a grin. The blur was as relaxed as he could be, and he was very much enjoying the period of relief this peaceful day provided. Seconds later, he noticed the entrance of a general store coming up, which immediately reminded him of his thirst. Without breaking the mental beat he had set up in his head, the blur lightly stomped his foot down, halted the skateboard, and once he scooped it up, he went inside to nab himself a bottle of water. At that time, even though he knew his penchant for doing so, the hog was certain he wasn't bump into anyone he knew, and that this trip was going to be just your average get in, get out kind of deal. But lo and behold, the moment he set foot inside the place was the moment his gaze ended up locking into a familiar blonde bounty hunter who was just smiling with glee, her day clearly having been made by the mere sight of her friend. Samus Aran? Well, I'll be. What are you doing here? Sonic greeted with one hand going to grab the bottle on the shelf next to him while the other went to shake the hunters. You know me, Sonic. I'm just here gathering a few supplies. It's good to see you, by the way, Samus responded, her voice filled with overwhelming warmth. Same here, the blur replied. It was definitely a nice surprise. So how's life been treating you? Seconds later, the hunter let out a small sigh of frustration, a reaction that Sonic had seen frequently. So much so, in fact, that he was already forming the reason for why this was in his mind right as she started to voice it. Well, Ridley broke out of containment again 2 nights ago, a mere day after I had recaptured him, which meant I had to spend a good half of the day tracking him down, which wasn't too fun, especially with the bruises I received. Just as quickly as it came, Samus's scrunched brow quickly faded and her face went right back into being a warm smile. But other than that, it's been pretty good, I'd say. Speaking of which, how's your day been? It's been good, Sonic began, before moving on to the big question he had on his mind. So how's Snake been? Is he still going out with you? With a light chuckle, the hunter crossed her arms. He's been well, though we were never an item. We did go out one last time the week before, but like usual, it's always been his friends, Samus began. Though I do wonder who told you we were dating. Immediately, the image of a certain feathered pilot came into mind. Let me guess, Falco told you? Yep, Sonic said with a nod, prompting Samus a slightly longer chuckle in response. That guy's practically made it his mission to figure out my love life. Sonic immediately smirked. Yeah, no kidding. I should have known it was just him up to his old tricks. Like how he once said you were going out with Mario, Samus finished, her lips now forming into a big stupid grin. Oh, don't remind me. I still get the giggles every time I think back to that, especially when Peach actually started believing it, which caused him to show up. Noticing she was starting to crack up, the blur immediately took over. Which caused him to show up to Star Fox HQ. His face as red as a beet. Oh, I remember that. Especially when he tossed him across the room and got his beak stuck in the wall. He certainly got the idea to never mess with him, I'd say. Even before he said it, the usually reserved bounty hunter just lost it and started to crack up like there was no tomorrow, and it was this unusual sight that few people were in there around. The two started to do the same. Hell, even Sonic couldn't resist cracking at least a small smile at it. After a few more seconds, soon everything mostly went back to normal, though Samus still had the occasional odd snicker or two for a little bit following this moment. So Sonic, are you doing anything later? Samus questioned. The blur then lightly grasped his chin and mentally combed through his schedule for any important event he might have missed, only to turn up with nothing. So far, there's nothing I can think of. Why ask? Despite having years of formal military training and discipline, as well as a massive body count due to her career and history, even the great Samus Aran was not immune to nervousness, as her cheeks soon flushed with red seconds after the blur finished his sentence. However, the nervousness was only just that, cosmetic, as the girl still was able to power on through and pop the question. Well, I was wondering if maybe you and me could go out for dinner tonight. Sonic's eyes flickered with surprise. Despite his past experiences, anytime he was asked out, it still came as a surprise to him. Then the reaction he gave, as well as the tone he said it in, put Samus very much at ease, as she then realized he was in the exact same boat she was. You mean as friends, right? Smiling, the bounty hunter shook her head. Not quite, she began. I was thinking something more along the lines of, well, I think it should be obvious. Sonic's interest perked up at the exact same moment as his heart rate. You actually do want me to go on if you're interested, of course, Samus quickly interjected, only continuing once she saw Sonic get into his thinking stance. Because if you don't want to, that's fine as well. Are you kidding me? Sonic said moments later, his lips curling into a smile. I'd love to. Is 8 o'clock a good time? Getting over the surprise and resisting every urge to squee, Samus nodded. That sounds wonderful. Right then, Sonic went to pay for the bottle, though not once did his eyes leave the hunter. Great to hear, the blur said right as he set his skateboard back down. Well, I'll see you then. I have to get going now. The day's still young, you know. Indeed it is. I best be heading off also. I promised to meet with Peach and Zelda to catch up with them. Before they went their separate ways, the blonde bounty huntress took the blur by surprise when she pulled him close into a very warm hug, which was quickly returned by the former. A few seconds later, Sonic sped out of the store and was once again back to boarding down the sidewalk at extremely high speeds and would every now and again perform a trick or two, which would usually get a good reaction from the crowds around him, with the smiles he'd see being more often than not what made his day. Fuck, how Sonic's so cool! I want to be like Sonic! A little while later, the blur decided to slow down for the time being to enjoy his surroundings a bit more, and as soon as he did, his gaze soon snapped to a familiar mustached man in red and blue. This is a Smash Brothers fanfiction? Wait, is that? It didn't take long before the figure's features became more pronounced and provided some truth to what the blur guessed. Mario! Sonic called. As quickly as the words sounded off, the plumber's gaze snapped to the blue hedgehog, and as soon as it did, a smile graced his face, and he soon started waving. Sonic! Mario called right as he started making a move towards the blur. How's it going, my friend? It feels like it's been ages since I saw you. Yeah, same here, bud. I'm doing great. Smiling, the blur, as soon as he was within reaching distance of his friend, went to shake his hand. I just met with Samus earlier today. Really? Mario asked. How's she been holding up? The usual. You know how it is for her. In response, the plumber couldn't help but let out a chuckle. Boy, do I ever! The life of a bounty hunter is never easy. Yeah, no kidding. But enough about that. How's it going, pal? Sonic asked. So far, things have just been terrific, Mario began. It's refreshing to actually enjoy your day without having to worry about some random threat attacking, wouldn't you agree? Ah, definitely, replied Sonic. A little bit later, the plumber's eyes moved over the board in the blur's pack. So they see you've taken up a skateboarding. Noticing his friend's reaction, the blur showed a slight hint of confusion. I sure have. What, you didn't know I skateboard? Well, admittedly, I should have guessed. I mean, I do remember when you took up hoverboarding, but I always thought that experience would be so exciting that it put you off just a plain old skateboarding. You know me too well. It's nowhere near as fun as those nifty extreme gear boards, if you ask me. I think any way you can catch me some good air and shred is good. Some things just never change, Mario thought to himself. So where are you heading off to? Sonic began. Going to meet with Luigi? Mario shook his head, though his tone was still as jovial as ever. Nope, he's out with a Daisy right now on a date. Wait a moment, a date? Mario nodded. It's crazy, isn't it? It only seemed like it was just a day or two when they could barely look it in the eye, let alone speak to her now, and he's just as brave as the rest of them. Nice. Hey, next time you see him, be sure to mention that I'm proud of him, all right? Will do, Mario replied with a nod. Well, anyways, I'm just going to a diner to get something to eat. I didn't really feel like cooking today. Would you care to come with me? I could use a good friend to talk to. Despite the answer already being on his mind, the blur's stomach did not hesitate to make sure he knew that the possibility of turning the plumber down was not going to happen. Sure thing, old buddy, Sonic replied, his arm draping around Mario's shoulder. In fact, I'd be willing to pay the tab if you'd like. Mario smiled at his response, though he was still a little perplexed by him, as this was very unlike the blur. In fact, last time a scenario like this occurred, Sonic's response was something along the lines of, "No thanks, bud, I'm looking for some more adventure." And yet, here he was, actually not worrying so much about his life in the fast lane and actually being willing to go for a meal with him. Well, at least I know what to ask him about first, he thought right away as they found themselves at table. As they waited for their opportunity to get their meals, it was Mario who first broke the silence. How's life been for you, Sonic? Mario asked. Well, so far it's been spectacular. From traveling around the world to meeting and sharing smiles with new people and going on incredible new adventures. It's all been such a wonderful experience, Sonic answered truthfully. Same old Sonic, always looking for adventure, Mario said with a chuckle. So are you still as cocky as ever? What do you mean? Sonic asked. I mean, have you still been doing things like toying with your enemies, throwing out the insults toward friends and foe, and have you still been smug to people? Realizing what Mario was asking, the blur quickly shook his head. Nope, stopped that a long time ago. Really? Mario asked with eyes widened. Why? Well, you see, Mario, one day I stopped and had a good long thought about what I've been doing with my life and found that while I did a lot of good for the world, the way I was doing it at the time was, for lack of a better term, reckless, and all of it did was put more of my friends as well as innocents in the way of harm. Following that realization, I left on a personal quest to see what others went through, and I used what I learned to become a calm, mature hedgehog you see before now. What? Really? But color me shocked. That explains a hell of a lot. Moments ago, you would have cracked at least one joke about me being slow and possibly even challenging me to a race, just to see me huff and puff that you didn't do any one of those things. Well, I hope you like the new me, Sonic began. I mean, this was a very difficult change to make, as there hadn't been a moment in the past before my trip where I wasn't a smartass to at least one person, and I know I pissed quite a few people off, which is why I worked as hard as I could to separate myself from that. The hog took a few seconds to replenish his energy with the bottled water in his pocket. I want to show people that I have the capacity to mature just like everyone else. The plumber couldn't believe what he was hearing. Of course, he'd be lying if he didn't admit that he was proud that the speedster for trying to make such a massive difference in his life, but overall, he never knew he actually felt that way about his attitude. A few seconds later, with a smile, he gently set his hand on his friend's shoulder. You know, while we may have been rivals in the past, and even if you did annoy the hell out of me back then, I just want to let you know, Sonic, you'll always and will always be to me one of my greatest friends. Surprised by the warmth and acceptance of his formal rival provided, Sonic couldn't help but give him a smile. Thanks, Mario. I appreciate that. No problem, replied Mario. Now moving on. Where did you exactly visit in this trip of yours? Italy? Japan? Mobius? After taking another sip of his water, Sonic let out a small chuckle. Far more than that, bud. I didn't just go to different regions, but rather, I went from world to world, dimension to dimension, different timelines, and much, much more. How long does this go on for? It just kind of keeps going. Okay. I just saw a spoiler. Hold on. I just saw a spoiler. We have to keep going. Holy shit. Oh boy. All right. Well. Wow, really? Noticing the slight hint of disbelief in his friend's voice, the blur nodded. I'm serious, man. I saw all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm sure it's not that crazy, Mario began. I mean, this is coming from the same hedgehog who was sucked through storybooks, turned into a werewolf-like creature because a piece of ancient evil is getting stuck in him, and, okay, you know what? I believe you now. You've been through so much crazy crap that this doesn't even sound so far-fetched anymore. After letting out a short chuckle at Mario's reaction, and just as he was about to go into a bit of what he saw, his mind stumbled across a certain thought that caused his cheeks to be flushed with red and his voice stammer a slight bit. Oh, and it was through this that I ended up on what? Mario asked, his eyebrow cocked with interest. Well, it's kind of a secret. The plumber's eyes widened a bit. The brave Brarum, formerly brash Sonic the Hedgehog, is stumbling over a simpler secret, he thought to himself. Well, this is a new. You're saying a secret? Care to tell me? Beads of sweat started to roll down the blur's head. Risey found himself torn between if he should cave into honesty or if he should come up with an excuse to get the plumber to stop asking. I think it was. I just don't really want to talk about it. Despite his desire to respect his friend's wishes, Mario just couldn't help but find this at least a little strange. Just the very idea of Sonic, the self-described guy who loves adventure, who has seen his fair share of freaky things in his life and was not once scared to talk about it, suddenly getting all squirrely about some random harmless secret was so incredibly odd to him. In an attempt to relax him, Mario went back to a method he used to get Luigi to spill some of his secrets. Relax, Sonic! We're best friends! We've all seen our fair share of weirder stuff, and it's not like this is the first time we ever share secrets. I won't tell anyone. Why tense up now? Almost immediately, a certain painfully obvious thought popped into his head. Is it something embarrassing? Well, that's not it, Sonic said, shaking his head. This is different. It's complicated. Complicated? How so? Visibly uncomfortable, with his eyes jerking from side to side while constantly wiping his consistently sweat-drenched brow, one would most believe that the hog had committed murder. Oh. Well, look, I'm sorry, buddy, but I really don't want to talk about that. Relax, my speedy friend, Mario said, sitting his hand on Sonic's arm. I promise you not to tell a single soul about this. Are you sure? Have I ever been untrustworthy? Thinking for a moment, Sonic found that, as expected, there was not a single moment in his friend had let him down. Despite feeling a bit more confident, there was just one more question that remained. Just why do you want to hear about this so much? Sonic asked. It just seems so weird that despite everything you've seen and done and all the secrets you've shared, this is the one time you don't want to tell anyone. Mario's lips then curled into a smirk. Plus, once I hear that one of my friends or someone close to me has a secret, I won't stop till I hear it. All right, so this kind of goes on for a while, and then... Well, if that's the case, then here goes. I've kind of been a... Sonic stopped for a moment to take another look at the plumber, who saw he was already leaning in closer, with his brow cocked in anticipation. Realizing he couldn't turn back now, the blur took a deep breath, held it in for a few seconds, and exhaled, with stress floating away in a matter of seconds. I'm kind of a player. Damn, Sonic. Wake up, Dormouse. Thanks for the resub. I feel like a 2005 in here and loving it. Glad someone is. Whew. Oh boy, okay. Mario blinked for a few seconds, the look on his face clearly showing that he thought it was a joke, which took only a small look from Sonic to tell him that he wasn't kidding. Really? Mario replied. That's your secret. Well, that's part of it, he began. You see, by player, I mean that I've actually been in, well, let's just call them private encounters with tons of women. At that moment, the scene that played out almost seemed like something straight out of a cartoon upon hearing the last part. Mario's eyes shot wide open with shock and bulged ever so slightly in his jaw simultaneously going slack. The image was so ridiculous, in fact, that the blur couldn't help but chuckle at it. A few moments later, the plumber managed to pull himself together and shook his head for a moment before making the best attempt he could to speak. Are you kidding me? Mario began, his finger raising towards his friend. You, Sonic the Hedgehog, you had sex? Sonic nodded. With a crapload of a women! Well, that's right. And this all happened during my trip around the world. I even have the numbers on my phone to show for it. Sonic answered truthfully with a smile. Tell me, how many do you have on your phone? His smile still showing, the blur reached into his pocket and carefully pulled out his white Samsung Galaxy 3, entered his list of contacts, and started counting. After a few seconds, he smirked and turned his attention back to the plumber. Well, I can't give the exact number away, but let's just say if you saw it, you'd probably have a heart attack, Sonic answered as he browsed through some unread messages he discovered. Is that so? Sonic nodded. In that case, can you tell me how many digits? I can't say, there's too many to count. Flabbergasted, Mario took off his hat and started using it as a makeshift fan. Oh my goodness, Sonic. But that was your secret all along. You'll travel around the world as well as different dimensions and time periods just to sleep with females. Yeah. Yeah. Mario would say that. Well, not purposefully, Sonic began. But now that I think about it after you put it that way, it certainly seems like it, but really, the original intent was just to have fun exploring exotic new worlds and help whoever I can along the way. Not once did I expect to even get half the stuff I got into, but sure enough, it happened, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy every moment of it. Wow, just wow, you've got to tell me of everything. Well, hold on, bud. I only said I'd tell you my secret, not that I'd... what the hell, it could be fun. All right, Mario, I'll tell you about every gal I slept with. Really? Sonic nodded. All right then, so I guess we should start from the top, right? Well, that sounds about right, Sonic said. Now let's see, who did I sleep with first? For a number of seconds, the hog tapped his chin, trying his best to recall his first in what was an incredibly long list of women. I slept with... No, that's not it. It began with an R. It was... I got it now. The one I slept with was Rogue. Mario's eyes snapped open so fast, it was almost like he saw a ghost. What? Sonic, you're not referring to... Oh, yes. I'm referring to the Southern Beauty from the X-Men. Sonic, I know you've done some crazy things, but you do realize who we're talking about here. This isn't just a member of the X-Men. She's one of the most respected, most powerful, and most importantly of all, she's one of the most dangerous. She can take your powers just as much as a touch, and if she held on long enough, she can make you pass out or possibly even kill you. I know that. And to add further fuel to this fire, she's a dating gambit. Look, Mario, I know you're shocked about this. Hell, you're probably wondering how I'm still alive right now. But trust me, when I say that he didn't find out about it, the two of us kept it a secret, and plus this was during a very rocky time in their relationship. How do you get it? So they weren't necessarily friendly with one another when you two did this. Exactly, Sonic said with a nod. I see, but that still doesn't answer the question of how you're able to survive Rogue's powers. Mind starting from the very beginning so I can understand this better? Not at all, my man. It all started back when I decided to pay Professor X's school a visit to see how they run things, you know. Sonic the Hedgehog goes to Xavier's school for gifted children. Yep. You know, Professor. Yep, after I assisted the X-Men during one battle with the Brotherhood, they gave me a card that said I could visit any time. Oh, boy. And this, this kind of keeps going, only now is every chapter this fucking long? There's just so much preamble. I'll skip ahead. Just know there's a part where he kind of just, it looks like he kind of fucks around with Cyclops and Wolverine for a little bit. Professor X is there. Is kind of fuck around. Yeah, this kind of fuck around. And then, minutes later in the flashback, the Hog was sprawled out on the bed, resting ever so peacefully. He had kicked off his shoes and used the power of chaos to set them rather neatly down at the wall next to the door to get comfortable. With a smile on his face and the complete lack of assumed noise, with the exception being the occasional exhale of hair from the Hog's lungs, everything lended itself well to one perfect nap. That was me, not Sonic. However, all of it was about to change when someone crept into the room, carefully laid next to the Blur, and once they were sure he wasn't going to wake, they started twirling their finger in neat circles on his chest. Eventually, after a few more seconds, the Blur groaned softly and let out a groggy breath as his eyes slowly pried themselves open, with his mind full of wonder about who or what would want to interrupt his peaceful slumber. With one last throaty groan, the Blur was completely awake, and he took advantage of that moment to look around the room. At first, he noticed nothing, but until eventually he locked eyes with a female brunette with a single white streak in her hair, as well as seductive eyes and a mischievous smirk. "Hey there, sugar," Rogue greeted. Immediately, Sonic's defenses kicked into high gear right as his eyes shot wide open, followed up by the motion of him scooting back just a bit too far, which caused him to fall flat on his ass on the polished floors. "What the hell? Rogue, what are you doing in here? Can't you see I'm trying to take a nap here?" Sonic shouted excitedly at the X-Men member. "Sorry about that. I didn't mean to ruin your nap," Rogue said with sincerity in her voice. "I heard a bunch of footsteps during an ordeal I had, and because of what happened during that, I just thought I'd come to find you. It was a little while later I found Bobby, who told me where you were, and once I saw you were sleeping, well, I just thought I'd lay right beside you." "Oh, well, that's nice of you." A few seconds later, the realization hit Sonic like a pile of bricks. "Wait, what am I saying? Look, Rogue, I appreciate you wanting to keep me company and all, but I just have to ask, why?" "Well, that ordeal I mentioned," Rogue paused for a moment, taking a breath and regained her composure. "It's for comfort. I just wanted someone near me because I broke up with Gambit." Not wanting to give away that he eavesdropped on the whole situation, the Blur wisely decided to focus on not acting surprised. "I'm so sorry, Rogue, but you could have asked someone else to help comfort you. Someone who's much closer to you than I am, like Bobby, for example." "True, I could have, but when I thought about it and how much this has happened before, I felt that wouldn't help. Knowing you, however, and how apparently you dealt with some heartbreak in your life, I just thought it'd be better for this time if I came to you." Having softened up a considerable amount, Sonic stood up with his tone showing far less anger and shock. "Is that so? In that case, join me on the bed and tell me what's going on." The Blur made his way back to the bed, with Rogue lying beside him. Once he was within cuddle distance, the Southern Belle embraced the Blur with the latter using his powers to thankfully negate the deadly effects of the heroine's touch. What? Sonic just willed it away? You know, all those Sonic powers and make it so that you can't get rogue sucked. Yeah, you just do it. All right, well, now that that's covered. Once that was done, Sonic returned the embrace and wrapped his arms around her. When they were in position, it was then that Rogue told him everything about what happened between her and Gambit, and while he did know about the encounter, she then went further and went over how this wasn't the first time this had happened, which caused the Blur to feel all the more sorry for her, and also only convinced him to tighten his embrace. "Hey, it's okay. I'm sorry that happened to you," Sonic comforted. "Don't let Remy let you get down. What he did was terrible, sure, but remember, you've got a whole group of friends who love and respect you. You don't need Remy to make you happy, and I'm sure that no matter who the member is, they'd be willing to do whatever they can to show you that you're valued." "Thanks, Sonic. That's just what I needed to hear," Rogue said with a small smile. "No problem. Helping others is what I do. Doesn't matter if they're sad, angry, or hurt physically and or mentally. I'll do whatever it takes to make them feel better." Seeing how much brighter Rogue's smile became, it was then that Sonic felt he could take a load off his conscience. Hey, Rogue, can I be honest with you? Anytime, what is it? You see, I heard everything in your room while you and Gambit were having that fight, Sonic said, lowering his head in shame. Now, I'm sorry for eavesdropping. It's okay, Rogue said with a smile, using her hand to prop his head up. You didn't know we were dating. It was in a pretty open area. Anyone could have heard, really. True, but when I helped you that one time in a fight against the Brotherhood, I could tell you guys were very close to one another, and considering my own experiences, honestly, that sort of hit me. Hey, it's all right, Sugar, Rogue reassured. Not even Sugar. I'm not mad. Remy's the one I'm pissed at. You, on the other hand, were just someone who on accident wound up hearing something you shouldn't have, and so you let your curiosity get the better of you. It happens to the best of people. Hell, it happens to me. There's no need to feel so ashamed. Thanks, Rogue, Sonic said with a smile. A few minutes of silence then passed with the two of them having nothing to say, and after waiting a bit to see if Rogue was the one willing to break the silence, and after noticing that she wasn't going to speak, the Blur finally took a deep breath and broke everything. So what's the next step? You gonna find new love and see how things go with them, or are you gonna remain single to give yourself some time to heal your broken heart? I'm leaning more towards the latter for now. I gave Remy too many chances, and with him blowing this one, I don't feel dating right away is a good option. Well, either way, I only wish you the best. Thanks, Rogue began. Come to think of it, if we're up to speed on the process, I think I need something more to help me to make feel a little better. The comforting was nice, but I could use something more. Like what? A kiss? Sonic asked jokingly. Rogue smiled, but she did not give an answer, or at least did not give it vocally. A few seconds later, the Southern Belle climbed on top of the Blur, sat on his lap, her clothed crotch just barely grazing against his. I don't know what I expected. Without any hesitation, she then followed it up by pressing his... I hope he's still wearing his, super cool skateboard clothes. She then followed it up by pressing her hands against the hog's firm chest, all the while her gaze was locked with the Blur's, who wasn't exactly scared, as most men would be, but rather he was more curious about what was going on, in which Rogue we could tell by how one of his eyebrows was cocked upward. Though she could still tell through the tone of his voice that he was at least slightly concerned. Rogue, what are you doing? Sonic asked. Why do you sound so afraid? Rogue asked with a giggle. Why wouldn't I be? One moment you're clearly depressed and yearning for comfort, and the next you're straddling me. Most gals don't exactly do that. True, but you see, Sonic, I am still sad. I'm still hurting inside, and so I thought to help make the pain go away. The gal leaned down until she was just inches away from the Blur's face. I'd have some fun with you. Okay, what do you mean by that? Not saying a single word, Anna kept her seductive smile and remained in her current position. You and me are going to spend some time together in this room, and it will be the best night ever. Oh, and if you're concerned about someone discovering us, not to worry. I locked the door when I came in. No one's going to be crashing this. You live in a house of super mutants. Literally, people can walk through walls. Wait a minute, Sonic began, the gear in his head finally turning. Are you telling me what I think? As quickly as it began, his sentence was silenced by a finger to his lips. Shh, don't speak, just relax. Sonic, you can say no. You can say no. Feeling all his defenses having finally broken done, the Blur could do nothing but nod his head in response as his hormones slowly started to take control. With a seductive smile still present, Rogue leaned in closer, and in what felt like a flash, her lips locked with the Blur's. Stop calling him that. Without any more hesitation, the Blur kissed back as hard as he could, thus beginning their makeout session. As the hormones started to tighten their control on the Blur, his arms immediately started snaking themselves around Anna's figure, which led to wrapping her arms around his neck in response. Soon the Blur's hands were skillfully starting to caress the gal's bod, and would eventually find themselves moving down to her waist. As time went on, the two of them began to deepen the kiss, which soon led to the air around them, as well as the act becoming far more steamy and erotic. Soon their tongues were brutally wrestling with each other, deciding to make things a bit more interesting. Rogue released one of her hands from his neck and made her way down his clothed crotch and gave a quick, gentle squeeze. The sudden sensation causing him to let out a muffled moan, which encouraged him to kiss her back even harder. After a little while longer, the two went back to the classic kiss to the lips and remained like that for a few more seconds. After those seconds were up, they finally broke the union to get some air. That was probably the sweetest, most tender kiss I've ever had. Way better than Gambit, Rogue commented, licking her lips. For you it was, Sonic said breathlessly. Forgive me for not sounding so enthused, but I'm not exactly the most appreciative of nearly getting suffocated to death, Sonic reminded. Don't be such a sourpuss, Sugar. You were just caught off guard by a touch to the crotch. Yeah, like most of us. Stopping for a moment, Sonic put his hand to his chin and gave it a good thought. After all, he never really could had something like that happen to him before, and even then, he knew from Charles that the last thing Rogue would want to do anyone was hurt them, and so after a bit and with a sigh, he finally relaxed. You make a very good point. Guess I'm just not very used to it. Really? Rogue asked, her tone full of surprise. Well, tell me, how are you enjoying it so Oh, it looks like I already have my answer. Sanis watched as the girl furrows in place, with the only part that moved being her eyes, which shot down towards his rather uncomfortable bulge in his pants, the sight of which caused the gal's smile to grow. Oh my, it looks a little strangled. Here, I'll help it breathe a little, Rogue cooed. A few seconds later, the Southern Belle wasted no time in climbing off the blur, which left her once more right beside him. And once she had the perfect position, she wasted no time and proceeded to undo the buttons and zipper of the cargo pants. After a few more seconds, she finally unveiled his 9.5-inch pride and joy. Fucking Sonic. 9.5-inch dick. To me, it's funny because I'm not used to hearing about one that's so small. Pleasantly surprised by the length as well as the thickness, Rogue lipped her lips and proceeded to wrap her hand around the base, which was followed up by a nice little test stroke, which caused the blur to shiver with pleasure. Looks like someone's getting excited, Rogue said with a chuckle. Hey, if you don't mind, is it fine if I have a taste, Sugar? Considering how he was practically on cloud 9 and would obviously be insane to stop now, the blur almost instantly gave the gal permission to proceed, and then without any hesitation, the girl proceeded to stroke it a little bit more as well as a small warm-up. Once that was done, the Southern Belle started to slowly engulf the hard cock with every inch she went down, causing the blur to groan more and more hoarsely. Once it was completely sheathed inside her mouth, she then proceeded to bob her head up and down the massive length. After a few more seconds, the hog let his head recede more into the pillow and his eyes closed, the only sounds he made being some light moans along with the occasional muttered curse as Rogue worked her magic. As time passed on, the heroine soon started to pick up the pace with her head sliding up and down far more speedily, to the point where she was slobbering all over his length. After a little while had passed, she paused for a brief moment once she was at the base and let the cock sit at the back of her throat for a few moments before then proceeding to slide up to tease the head with her tongue twirling round and around, the entire experience sending shivers down Sonic's spine. Oh, fuck! Sonic moaned. Oh. Woo!
Jared found a new career path. Fanfiction reading.
Please don't. I'd rather not. Oh, so this kind of keeps going for a while, huh? You like that, baby? Rogue questioned, her intense gaze locked with the blur's own. They need some different alternative names for them. So they fuck after a while, or I'm scrolling. She did what she did before and deep-throated all 9 or so inches of the massive shaft. Okay, cool. So she's still sucking it. He's got a real big cock. Real big, okay? It's a really big cock. Like massive, dude, okay? Damn. Trying to resist it, Rogue thought, her lips instantly desiring to curl into an evil grin. Try resisting this. And with that, the mutant completely took the blur by surprise with the addition of her hand twisting up and down his length at the same time her head was still bobbing. So this has just been paragraphs of dick sucking. Finally, after several long minutes of enduring the torture, the blur's muscles just gave out, and with that came the explosion. Fuck! The moment he sounded off that cry, it almost was like a warning that came seconds too late, right when he was on the verge of saying it. Jet after jet of his sperm came bubbling and launching from his folds and into the gal's mouth. Right then, Rogue's eyes came shooting open as the seemingly endless waves of spunk kept pounding the back of her throat. This caught her off guard so much so, in fact, that the gal was actually at first trying to pull away, but eventually, when she got used to the salty and yet surprisingly very sweet taste, she remained on it and kept sucking, which of course prompted a scream from the blur. After the climax finally ended, Rogue slowly pulled away from the surprisingly still fairly hard shaft and swallowed the remaining cum, and once she felt slide comfortably down her gullet, she licked her lips. Now that was tasty, Rogue commented with a smirk. And this kind of keeps going for a while. I don't know why Gambit would be so foolish to leave such a sweet thing like you. You're absolutely beautiful. Yeah. All right. So then. Yep. Okay. Then they actually fuck. Yep. Sonic the Hedgehog is fucking Rogue from the X-Men. I'll probably skip over this one. But just know that there's just a lot of in and out, it looks like. With great dialogue such as Rogue saying, oh, that's it, right there, baby, give it to me, that feels so good, and fuck right there, oh god. Oh, yes, give it to me, that's the spot. Yep, now it's all caps, yes.
Sweet.
Nope, keeps going, still saying, oh god, oh fuck, yes, feels so fucking good, yep, keeps going, give it to me, Sonic. That's it, keep going. It's terrible. Go on, Sonic, come, give me everything you've got. Then he does. And then, they fuck some more. Okay, so that was chapter 1 of Sonic's Harem. Chapter 1 of 360. Each one being a different woman, or sometimes it looks like multiple. We got some real hitters in there like Storm, Death, Vanessa Lewis, Bumblebee from Transformers. I don't know, looks like a bunch of weeb shit. Princess Luna and Princess Celestia, Superwoman, the Scarlet Witch. Rainbow Dash and Applejack. That tracks. Cassie Cage, Chi-Chi from Dragon Ball, Tharja from Fire Emblem. Okay. Yep. Widowmaker. Sure. Lilith from Darksiders. Nice. Okay. April O'Neil, specifically the 1987 edition. Which, good choice, Sonic. Zelda, of course. Whoever Bullet is. Zantana. Tali from Mass Effect. Psylocke. Bulma, yeah. Yoko Littner, sure, why not? Mad Moxie, yeah, he would. Kitana, Lara Croft, Yuffie, Android 18, Risky Boots, Tifa, Sonic X Tifa, that's my ship. Jessica Rabbit, Sonya Blade, X-23, Princess Peach, Ada Wong, Jill Valentine. Are these chapters all just as long? No, they're okay. Oh, so each chapter is just written by a different person. And it's just it's them fucking. So
So what we have learned here today, Sonic fucks.
Sonic Fox, yeah. Jadale, are you back yet? Oh, thank Christ. Chat, we're gonna move on so we can actually read some actual good fan fiction. This one I actually have read before, so I'm familiar with it, and thankfully it is a classic. So I appreciate the submission of Jadale for wanting to bring some class, some prose to this fan fiction reading. Thank you, Jadale. This one is called Metal Gear Solid: Fight of Metal Gears. Solid Snake was old and died before, and his kid Jake Snake had to do things now for the world. Jake Snake had grown up with Solid Snake and helped him beat Metal Gears, but now Solid Snake was not there anymore, and only Jake Snake was. Solid Snake, what happens when you die? Jake Snake asked Solid Snake one time. It will be left to you to beat the bad guys in the world and do what needs to be done, Solid Snake said to Jake Snake, then he died later. Jake Snake got a call from Otacon, and Otacon said, Jake Snake, Metal Gears are fighting in Out Heaven, and you have to go there to fight them. So Jake Snake said, Otacon, you were Solid Snake's friend, and I want you to be my friend, so I will fight Metal Gears too. So he left Out Heaven to fight Metal Gears. Jake Snake got his weapons and cigars because he didn't smoke cigarettes and got on a plane and drove fast to Out Heaven to get where Metal Gears were fighting there. Jake Snake got to the top of the sky near where Metal Gears were fighting and put on autopilots and flipped out of the plane. Jake Snake's parachute didn't open, so he landed in water and swam to fighting Metal Gears. Jake Snake got out of the water and crawled fast and quiet to where Metal Gears were. Jake Snake picked up a rocket gun and crawled faster and quiet so Metal Gears couldn't see him there. Jake Snake stopped and smoked a cigar because he was tired when out of nowhere Otacon came on the phone and said, Jake Snake, behind you! So Jake Snake turned around and saw a bad guy with weapon pointed at Jake Snake. Why are you working for bad guys? Jake Snake told the bad guy with the weapon. Because they have Metal Gears and have weapons that shoot lasers, the bad guy said back to Jake Snake. Then Jake Snake said, I have lasers too, and brought it out of his pocket where he was hiding and shot the bad guy into face. I don't like bad guys like that, Snake said to the bad guy. Then he threw his cigar on him and he lighted on fire. Jake Snake crawled fast again to where Metal Gears were fighting because he could hear the bullets and brooms. Jake Snake brought out his rocket gun and shot a rocket at a Metal Gear, and the Metal Gear blew up and fell. Other Metal Gears came when the boom happened and came to Jake Snake, who was crawling fast in bushes. They saw me, Jake Snake said, so he put on camouflage and disappeared. Where did he go? A Metal Gear said to the other Metal Gears. Over there, and the Metal Gear shot at the bushes, but they only hit the ground and nothing. Then Jake Snake said, I am here, you bad guys, and was behind them. The Metal Gear turned around and saw Jake Snake in the Metal Gear that Jake Snake hided somewhere. Solid Snake fighted you bad guys, and now I have to. You will pay, fools, Jake Snake said. Then Jake said, and the Metal Gear shot bullets and rockets and lasers, and there was a lot of booms, and dust came. Then dust went away, and Jake Snake was still in his Metal Gear, but the other ones were there too, and they said, we have armor, Jake Snake. And Jake Snake said, what about this? And shot something special at them. To be continued? You're welcome. After all these years, it's still such a trip. It's so good. Squirrel King's a legend. Where's the banging? I told you. This one's of class. Okay. What else we got? Yeah, you think Squirrel King's still around? There's an Ace Attorney submission. You like Ace Attorney? Let me take a look at this one. Author has written 22 stories for Sonic, Mario, The Bible, and Phoenix Wright. How do I? Oh, so this one down here is this. Phoenix goes to Sonic World to defend his friend Tails when Big the Cat dies. Will he save him? I can't get away from Sonic. Okay. One day, Phoenix Wright was in his office because he wanted to defend someone, but he wasn't getting any murders recently. When suddenly the phone rang. Hello, he said, and then he was sucked through the phone! Oh, he said while waking up. Where am I, he said. You're on Mobies, said a voice. Oh, okay, said Phoenix, and he looked up and saw Blue Hedgehog looking at him. Ah! He screamed and jumped up and saw Sonic the Hedgehog, a blue hedgehog who can run really fast and is super cool. What are you scared of? No, I'm just a hedgehog, he said. But hedgehogs can't talk, said Phoenix. Yeah, well, I can. I need you to defend my friend, said Sonic. Okay, who's your friend? Said Phoenix. My friend name is Tails, and I'll bring you to the jail to see him, said Sonic. Okay, said Phoenix. At the jail. Hi, Phoenix Wright, said Tails. Hi, Tails, said Phoenix. How did you get here? Someone said I murdered Big the Cat, but I didn't, said Tails. Don't worry, I'll defend you, said Phoenix. What's your name? What's your name? I thought, okay. My name is Miles Prower, but the name Miles is stupid, so just call me Tails. Okay, said Phoenix. Phoenix went to the crime scene to find evidence. Stop right there, said Knuckles. Who are you, said Wright? I am Knuckles, and I cannot let you go to this crime scene, said Knuckle, who was a police officer. But I'm an attorney, said Phoenix. Okay, but don't touch anything, said Knuckles. Phoenix went to the crime scene and saw Big the Cat lying on the ground dead. This is bad, said Phoenix. Phoenix looked around and found a Chaos Emerald. The next day at the trial, Phoenix was nervous that he would lose the trial to Sonic give him a pep talk. Don't worry, Phoenix, you'll win it for me, said Sonic. Thanks, Sonic, said Phoenix. I promise I will win the trail. They went into the courtroom. Court is in session, said the judge. The defense is ready, Your Honor, said Phoenix. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor, said Eggman. Eggman, what are you doing here? Said Sonic. Simple, I am here to get revenge on you for beating me, said Eggman. Well, I'm going to beat you again, said Phoenix. We'll see about that, said Eggman. I call my first witness, Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow the Hedgehog came on the stand. I am Shadow the Hedgehog, said Shadow the Hedgehog. Please testify, said Eggman. Fine, said Shadow the Hedgehog. The murder. So I was passing by the forest and I saw Tails kill Big the Cat. He stabbed him with a knife. He should go to jail for his crime. Objection, said Wright. There aren't fingerprints of Tails on the knife. That's because he wears gloves, stupid, said Shadow, and Phoenix got penalized. Damn it, said Phoenix. Wait, but what about the Chaos Emerald? What's a Chaos Emerald, said the judge. The Chaos Emerald can be used by Shadow to do stuff, said Sonic. This means Shadow could have used the Chaos Emerald to kill Big the Cat because it was at the crime scene, said Phoenix. Ha, you can't prove it, said Miles. Yes, I can, said Phoenix. WTF, how, said Eggman. There were no fingerprints on the knife, yes, but the gloves because of gloves, but there was also no glove prints on the knife, which means nobody actually touched the knife, which means nobody was able to use it except for Shadow, who used Chaos Control to kill Big the Cat, said Phoenix. No, said Shadow. Fine, I killed him. Yes, said Phoenix. I won. I'll get you for this, Phoenix, said Eggman, but then Sonic jumped on his face after the trial. Thanks for saving me, said Tails. No problem, said Sonic. I saved you, said Phoenix. We should go eat some chili dogs now, said Sonic. Okay, said Tails and Phoenix. But then Phoenix was sucked back to his office and he was stuck with Maya and burgers. Fuck, I hate burgers! Fucking got me, dude. Holy shit. Woo. You know, I was about to say, I don't think I like this one so much, but that last line, they got me. Oh damn, yeah. That was number 1 of 22. There's so many people that Phoenix Wright has to defend. We got Luigi, Jesus Christ, Maya, Pearl, Manfred von Karma, Phoenix Wright is in big crap trouble now. If he doesn't take off his clothes, the world might end. What? Robbie Rotten, the villain of Lazy Town, recruits Phoenix to be a villain number 1, but Dean, some serious shit goes down. Can you do it? Oh, this one's not even canon. This one's not canon, so we probably won't even bother with that one. You better get ready, cause some poop is going down here, and you ain't gonna be ready for it. Yo, Phoenix Wright go into another world again after Panda Express, cause he's just that cool. But can he manage to get back to his world and save it once again? Sorry, 6,000 words. The non-canon one is 25,000 words. Agent 47. Hey man, if you're defending Agent 47, let me help you out. He did it. Trust me. Take my word on this one. He did it. This last one was just made last October. It's like recent. I don't know if we can get better than a final line of "fuck, I hate burgers." Oh, here's a AO3. So this is another one submitted. How many words is this one? 56,000. That's a little long for me. What is this one? Shades of Pink. Oh, we're reading this one. This one's important, chat. I need you to trust me on this. This one's important. It's told in second person. So you better turn the lights down low, the volume up, headphones on, maybe light a candle. This is going to get more than you can handle. As you sifted through your makeup bag in search of a suitably rosy eyeshadow palette, it began to dawn on you just how odd your current situation was. Not odd as in, boss wants a snakeskin decal for his toy race car, or boss needs a dozen baby chicks and some animal-safe dye. On paper, you were only a contractor working odd jobs for one of the businesses of the Majima family's turf. But over the last few months, you'd spent enough time at the family office to learn that occurrences such as those were common enough to not fit the definition of odd anymore. Yakuza. The Yakuza fanfic, everybody. It's really important. What was truly strange about this was that of all the people Majima could have chosen to help bring Goromi to life, the task had fallen to you. Cosmetics were by no means an unfamiliar territory, but you knew for certain that your knowledge paled in comparison to that of the girls working at Shine. It was an essential part of their profession, after all. Yet none of the hostesses were on duty today. Majima had rented the place out in its entirety, and had also lined the manager's pockets with enough cash to ensure all the girls got to enjoy a paid day off. So now, the back room was empty, save for you and the gorgeous Goromi, whose piercing dark gaze you could feel linger on you as you gathered your tools. Your eyes met across the vanity mirror, and you felt your heart skip a beat. She already looked stunning, sat there with her soft blonde curls and that tight dress that hugged her form just right, leaving bare the intricate ink adorning her shoulders. Trying not to let your mind wander any further, you took a deep breath and moved closer to start working on her face. The proximity was intoxicating, but you had to keep your cool, regardless of how attractive your boss was, and regardless of the budding feelings you've been trying your hardest to deny. Tonight, Goromi needed to look her best. You were damn well going to see that she did. So what kind of look you got in mind for me? Goromi asked, a playful lilt in her voice. Well, I was thinking I'd go for a pink theme, something that would complement your outfit, but in a subtle way. You paused for a moment before tentatively adding, though if you'd prefer something else, I have other colors I could use, or at least try out. The blonde gave you a small smile, and her lone eye sought yours. Most people on the receiving end of your boss's stare would almost certainly describe it as manic or intimidating. But now, for once, it seemed to hold a certain soft quality you had rarely seen surface before. Nah, do your thing, darling. You're the artist tonight. Been wanting to see how you put the me in Goromi for a while now. Her grin grew a little wider as she continued. Besides, helps to have someone with a little more depth perception dolling you up, right? Eyeshadow ain't easy when you only got one of these, let me tell you. But I suppose it does cut the work in half. Though she'd laugh as she'd said that, her words tugged a little at your heartstrings. You stole a timid glance at the left half of her face and contemplated what to do about the eye patch. To remove it would mean crossing a boundary of intimacy both of you were not likely prepared for. So you decided it would have to stay on. It was as much a part of Goromi as it was of Majima. Close your eye, you instructed softly. As she did so, you brought your free hand to her temple to keep her steady, while you dusted the lid with pink and drew on a thin stripe of black eyeliner. She flinched at the sudden contact, but then gradually relaxed under your touch, and even seemed ever so lightly lean into the cup of your palm. Though maybe the last part was just your imagination. Your concentration was admittedly faltering, but who could blame you? When her skin was oh so soft, and the angle of her cheekbone was so gracefully sharp, and you could feel the faint pulse of her heartbeat beneath your fingers. Pulling back, you struggled to compose yourself long enough to apply a light apricot blush, letting your brush caress all the features your hand longed to, but could not, dared not. The only thing left now was the lipstick. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, this was the only step that gave you a legitimate reason to stare at her lips. You dove back into your makeup bag and eventually managed to extract from its depths the deepest pink shade you owned. All the while, Hiromi's half-lidded eye lazily followed your movements. Hey, there a secret to keeping this stuff on your lips? A girl could use some tips there, because I mostly just end up leaving stains on every glass, fork, or, everywhere. You briefly pondered where everywhere might specifically refer to before answering her question. You could use a primer underneath, but just going for long-wearing lipsticks is usually your safest bet. Don't worry, though. This one is completely transfer-proof. Tested it myself. Goromi only hummed in response, and you gently pulled her chin down to allow for the rosy carmine to coat her lips. With a final sparkle of powder, her makeup was all done, and you stepped back so she could get a good view of herself in the mirror. You were sure that the look was nowhere near as bold as its wearer's personality, but you still retained hope she'd like it. A couple of seconds later, with exuberant, toothy grin in the mirror confirmed that for you. Bet you there ain't a soul out there who wouldn't want to put the moves on this lady. Say, you want to be the Majima's family's official makeup artist? Afraid I'd be your only client, though, she cackled before turning to face you again. I really owe you one. Anything you want. Just say the word. Her gaze shone with an earnest warmth that set an entire swarm of butterflies aflutter in your stomach. As you racked your brain for a response, Kuromi interrupted your thoughts by sweeping the tip of her tongue over her bottom lip. You positive this'll stay put? I'm hoping Kiryu-chan will be a gentleman and at least buy me a drink before we throw down. Let me, check if it's dry, you replied, leaning in close, almost close enough for your noses to touch. Anything. You could have anything you wanted, right? Undeniably, at this very moment, you wanted nothing more than to kiss her. Or rather, no, just to help check that her lipstick wouldn't transfer. Throwing all caution to the wind, you press your lips to hers for but a brief second. A short peck was as far as your confidence would carry you, but Kuromi had other plans. Before you had a chance to move away, she reached out and slid her hand along your waist to the small of your back, pulling you to her and causing your lips to collide once more. She moved her mouth gently against yours until she felt you reciprocate, then deepened the kiss with a hungry soft of fervor. Her touch was pure fire, and you let yourself willingly be consumed by it, by the arousing vanilla scent of her perfume, the slick of her tongue inside your mouth. Through the blissful fog that had settled over your mind, the voice of a man calling from outside the back room door registered, though only faintly. Boss! Kiryu-san's here! You hastily parted from her, and not a moment too soon, as in the next instant the door cracked open and Nishida peeked his head through. You tried to hold your breath as to not let him catch on how much of a panting mess you were. Ever heard of knocking, knucklehead? I could have been an indecent in here. Get out and go keep Kiryu-chan busy for a bit. Kuromi barked, causing Nishida to promptly retreat. After a couple of seconds of dazed silence, you noticed the blonde turned to peer into the mirror and followed her gaze. You were kidding. Stuff's good as gold. No smudging at all. Otherwise, we would have been busted. Just as she said, the only color staining your face was the intense flush of your cheeks, which only deepened as you locked eyes through the mirror once again. So, any more beauty tips before I head out? Game prompt, yes or no. The question was no doubt intended to tease, but it seemed Kuromi was underestimating just how much the kiss has emboldened you. You moved in front of her chair and leaned over, letting your voice drop to a sultry whisper. You should try to sit more like a lady for starters. As you said that, your hand started languidly tracing a path down her outer thighs, gingerly pushing her spread legs together. You could hear Kuromi's breath hitch every time your fingertips would lightly catch on a loop of her fishnets, and by the time you reached her knees, she seemed just one instant away from losing control. Satisfied with the effect your gesture had on her, you turned to go about cleaning your brushes, but a pair of strong hands grasped your hips, pinning you in place. Kuromi had stood up to her full height, enhanced even further by the heels she was wearing. Had her eye glimmered with such a wicked desire it almost made you feel lightheaded, and you clung to her arms and to her every word as she purred into your ear. Don't go leaving just yet, love. After I'm done with Kiryu-chan, I still need someone to help me take all of this off. And then chat fucks Majima. You're welcome. We banked, yep. You banked. You did it, grats. Did Majima bank hear you? No, they fought. What's this one? Mitch's first revenge scream? Simpsons and Phineas and Ferb crossover. Well, this looks short. 2 years after his defeat by Isabella on Meep's planet, Mitch angrily yells, "Curse that pink-dressed girl. There must be some way to get even." He then decides, aha, I'll just kidnap her, take her back to my lair, and end her slowly. Isabella is about to walk to Phineas's house to figure out what he has planned when Mitch's ship hovers right above and behind her. Then Mitch descends from the ship, and before Isabella can scream for help, he tapes her mouth shut and puts her in a burlap bag and carries her up to his ship and sets a course for his lab. Will Phineas be able to save Isabella in time? Find out in part 2. Oh, fuck, chat. 4 whole sentences? I'm in. Phineas paces back and forth in his backyard, wondering, where is Isabella? She should have been here by now. Phineas walks outside to notice a clue that Mitch left by accident when he kidnapped Isabella. Specifically, her hair bow fell off her head. Phineas picks it up and realizes something is wrong. Isabella would never leave her hair bow unless she was in trouble. Meanwhile, in Mitch's lair, Isabella is grunting while trying to struggle against the chains that hold her to her chair. Mitch evilly states, "Do not waste your time, little girl. Those chains are reinforced steel. Therefore, they are 99% indestructible." Isabella angrily protests, "What are you going to do to me, Mitch?" Mitch takes out a knife and says, "I'm going to eventually end your life with this, but to show I can be a fair sport, I'm going to give you exactly 5 hours to escape beforehand." Will Isabella escape in time? Find out in part 3, the finale. I'm going to knife you to death. I'm going to give you 5 hours. Part 3, everyone. Phineas realizes, I can't rescue Isabella on my own. I need help from the master of devious behavior. He sends a call to Springfield saying, "Bart, I need your help. Please come to Danville. We need to get Mitch's fortress and rescue Isabella before Mitch kills her as revenge for her thwarting him." With less than a minute remaining until Mitch uses his knife in Isabella's neck, they manage to reach the dungeon. Phineas kicks the knife out of Mitch's hand and challenges him to a fight while Bart unchains Isabella. Then all 3 of them escape, and Isabella says, "Bart, Phineas, thanks for rescuing me." Then Bart goes back to Springfield, and Phineas and Isabella go on a date the next day to celebrate their 1-year anniversary of dating. The end. Good thing he called Bart. He called Bart, and Bart was just like, "I'll be there in 4.5 hours." Oh, there you go. I don't know anything about Phineas and Ferb, but Phineas and Herb? No, Phineas and Ferb, right? What is it? Yeah, Phineas and Ferb. I'm pretty sure that was super accurate. You know what just got me giggling again as I went and got water, chat? I was just remembering Phoenix Wright going, "Fuck, I hate burgers." Holy shit, that's funny. Oh boy. Oh shit, hold on. We got some Yu-Gi-Oh? Oh god. That's a lot of... So, alright. Well, we gotta do a little bit. "Oh, my little pharaoh, I've found you at last." The highly evil voice said in a highly evil way. A woman sat in the shadows of the chamber, looking at a mirror in which was displayed the image of Yugi, the Millennium Puzzle hanging from a chain around his neck as usual, sitting at his desk at Domino High School. Typically, he was playing Duel Monsters, since they don't do work at school and teachers are nowhere to be found. The figure had a very good, in her opinion, reason to hate the pharaoh, a grudge she'd kept up for the last 5,000 years. A reincarnated spirit locked in a little gold pyramid of no. She was going to get back at him. And now that she'd found him, she had the perfect means to do it. Gathering her power, she thought, "King of Games, prepare to be dethroned." She began chanting in ancient Egyptian. Magic flowed from her outstretched hands into the mirror image of Yugi. The Millennium Puzzle briefly glowed a photo negative of itself. "Hee-hee-hee-hack!" The figure laughed in a pitiful impersonation of an evil laugh. then began coughing violently. She hadn't laughed evilly in a long time. Yugi sat, looking at the cards in his hand. The Dark Magician and Celtic Guardian were on the field, and he was trying to figure out the best way to pound Joey into dust without making his friend look stupid. Suddenly, the puzzle glowed. Black, rather than its usual gold. "You okay, Yami?" "I feel a little weird. It's gone now, probably just something we ate. How about you let me finish this duel? It might clear my head." Yugi considered the idea carefully. Joey couldn't possibly consider losing to the king of the Shadow Games as a bad thing, and Yugi really didn't want to hurt his friend's fragile ego. Ever since winning Maximilian Pegasus' tournament, Yugi had just been getting better. With access to the cards he had and Yami's support, a normal duelist like Joey was simply no match for him anymore, and something Joey refused to admit. This had been the 5th game they played today, and Joey had lost every one. Tristan and Taya had lost interest long ago, and gone off to get lunch. Yugi let his other self came out. He instantly grew 3 feet and got a lot more sinister looking. "Ah, hell!" Joey thought. Yugi was great, but Yami was a freaking master. Looks like I'm in for loss number 6. "Well, Joey, let's continue our duel," Yami said in a voice far deeper than Yugi's ever was. "Now, I'll just... I had 2 cards out. Where'd the Dark Magician go?" I don't know," Joey said tentatively. The pharaoh had always intimidated him a little bit. "Oh well, I'll just play something else." "What? These cards! Yugi! What have you been doing out there? These are the worst cards I've ever seen!" "Really? They didn't seem all that bad to me. Just pull one from the deck and play that." "Okay," Yami thought a little doubtfully. He drew a card from the deck, looked at it, and his jaw dropped in astonishment. "I play the Unpleasant Gopher with an attack power of 3, he said in shock. Joey looked like he was in heaven. "I play the Flame Swordsman and win!" He started laughing hysterically and jumping up and down as the Flame Swordsman diced the Unpleasant Gopher and Yami's life points fell to 0. "That can't be right. Joey, let's try that again." They dueled again, and Yami drew the following cards for his hand. Happy Chipmunk, Disgruntled Badger, -23, 1. Squirrel that isn't happy right now, but might be later. Exploding Muskrat. Pepper Shaker that dispenses a little too much pepper. These are hilarious cards. Yami wanted to crawl under a rock and die. After Joey won effortlessly, they played 3 more games with Joey winning each time. Yami continued to draw cards like Kitten with Pink Bow with an attack power of -400 and a defense power of 0, or Reverse Steroids, which made the attack power of the enemy monsters go up by 2,000 points. Yami challenged several dozen random students, each duel lasting 10 seconds with Yami losing by a landslide. "What the hell is going on here?" "Come on, Yami. Everyone loses sometimes," Yugi thought calmly. Sometimes! Yugi, 46 losses in 10 minutes isn't sometimes! "I guess you've got a point there." Tristan and Taya arrived back from lunch around that time. "So, Joey, how badly did you lose to Yugi this time?" Joey looked pretty damn pleased with himself. "Actually, I won! 5 times! And against Yami!" Tristan braced himself against the wall, clutching his chest. Taya sat down to avoid fainting. Yugi nodded. "Yup, Yami seems to be losing pretty badly. I can draw good cards just fine, but he seems to be keep drawing completely useless cards that I've never even heard of." "Well, look on the bright side," Taya pointed out. "You already beat Pegasus, so it doesn't matter. We have all the time we need to get Yami off his losing streak." "Oh yeah, Yugi, a guy on the street asked me to give this letter to you," Tristan remembered, removing the letter from his jacket. No address. Well, let's see what this is about." Yugi opened the letter and read it aloud. "Oh, it's Pegasus? Hell yeah. Dear Yugi boy, how have you been? I've decided I want apocalyptic revenge, so I challenge you to a duel. If you win, I promise to leave you alone for at least a week. If I win, I'll kill you and all your friends, and take your Millennium Puzzle, and tie your grandpa to a bench and force him to watch as I bulldoze his game shop and build a Burger King where it used to be. I'll see you this time next month. Ciao, Maximilian Pegasus." "Uh-oh," Joey commented. "Look on the bright side," Taya said. "We've got a month. I'm sure we can take care of this by then." Suddenly, a remarkably similar letter popped out of the air conditioner on the side of the room and landed in front of Yugi. He opened it and read aloud. Dear Yugi boy, sorry my last letter got to you a bit late. The time frame was a bit off. By the time you are reading this letter, our duel will be exactly 7 days away. See you then for my apocalyptic revenge. Au revoir, Maximilian Pegasus. We're all gonna die, Tristan proclaimed in a doomed sort of voice. Look on the tab again. Taya, if you say look on the bright side, I'll strangle you. Yugi looked from the letter to the vent and back. How does he do that? Yeah, I mean, like, oh, the new Burger King doesn't seem so bad. Seto Kaiba, in contrast to the Yugi gang, was having a great day. He had fired his entire board of directors, largely due to the fact that they were all traitorous bastards who conspired to have him killed. He made several important business decisions, which led him to make a couple $1 billion. He had earned some time off and had plenty of time to go to his private room at his private mansion. He was still in school, but he really bothered to go anymore, and engage in his favorite activity. Entering the room, he went right past the king-size feather bed and paid absolutely no attention to the chest of briefcases that he had filled with cards to trade in case he ever found a card he really wanted. He walked straight up to the northernmost wall, the one decorated with a massive picture of him. It took some struggle, but he got the picture off the wall and revealed a massive 9-foot-tall vault door, 10-inch thick solid steel. He turned the keypad beside it, and a computerized voice said, "State your name." Seto Kaiba. Punch in your access code. He punched it in, a 13-digit totally random number so no one could possibly guess it. Place your palm on the pad for fingerprint scan. He did so. State your spoken password. Yugi must die. A hypodermic needle extended from the wall. Prick your finger on the needle and provide 3 drops of blood for a DNA scan. Jesus, just one of these would have been fine. Kaiba did so, his dark red blood running down the needle into the computer to begin the DNA scan. While DNA scan is running, we will begin a voice pattern match. Speak, and your voice print will be compared to the pre-recorded speech programmed into the security lock. Kaiba cleared his throat and began. Seto Kaiba, hair brown, eyes a deep, tantalizing blue. Sinister, yet incredibly dashing. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, the best duelist on the face of this planet. Tall, wealthy, and unbelievably handsome. Definitely destined to make a mark on history beyond that of its greatest heroes. Voice print and DNA scan confirmed. You may now enter, Mr. Kaiba. The vault door opened, and 15 identical doors behind it opened one at a time. Kaiba smiled. He took security very seriously. He walked up to the last door and withdrew a key from his vest pocket. Ignoring the door with its large, inviting keyhole, which was a complete fake, the door would explode if ever opened, he slid aside a panel on the wall and inserted the key into the keyhole this revealed. A section of the wall slid open, and he stepped into his personal vault. Inside, an extensive laser web, sensor grid floor, and automated machine guns, all surrounded in a single pedestal with an elaborate silver box on it. Kaiba said loudly, Kaiba Core rules the universe. The computerized voice proclaimed, passcode and voice recognition confirmed. Deactivated automated defense systems. He walked up to the box and turned the Kaiba Core logo emblazoned on it counterclockwise 3 times, then half a turn clockwise, then 2 more counterclockwise. The box clicked open as the poison dart launcher inside was disarmed. Sorry, I think I hit the wrong button. I think I accidentally got to a Resident Evil fanfiction. Speaking of, any good Resident Evil fanfictions? He opened the box and his eyes misted up involuntarily. He fought it off, but he couldn't help shed a tear of joy whenever he sets upon the most precious thing in his life. His deck. The beautiful, perfect, individually chosen cards that made up the most personal dueling deck of Seto Kaiba. More important than to him than anything up to and including his little brother Mokuba, the deck was the result of years of work and millions of dollars. And, most precious of all, the crowning achievement of his deck, the greatest items he had ever collected in his life, his most prized possessions, his 3 super rare, super valuable, super powerful Blue Eyes White Dragon cards. He didn't even bother to try to stop the tears of joy that flowed as he looked at the 3 identical blue-white reptiles, although he was careful to not allow any to touch his beautiful Blue Eyes White Dragon cards. He sat for over an hour, just sighing contentedly and staring at his dragons. Ah, my beautiful cards. How many victories we've won together. No, Kaiba, stop it. Stop crying. You're evil. Evil. Ruthless industrialist, don't cry. Oh, but my lovely, beautiful cards. Never have you failed me, except that one time. Flashback. Draw your last pathetic card, Yugi, so I can end this, Kaiba taunted. My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba, Yugi replied. But it doesn't contain the unstoppable Exodia! Why? Impossible! I have assembled all 5 pieces of the puzzle! Yugi proclaimed, and sure enough, Exodia appeared on the field. The massive Egyptian monster towered over Kaiba's blue eyes white dragon cards. Exodia! Obliterate! Kaiba could only watch in horror as his dragons were destroyed and his life points dropped to 0. End flashback. Kaiba sat where he had been before the flashback, except now he was growling with barely contained fury. His cards were on the floor, forgotten, and he was clenching his fists so hard he drew blood. He didn't consider his loss to Pegasus a loss, because that bastard had used evil Egyptian magic on him, but his loss to Yugi... Yugi! He screamed out to no one in particular. You cheating little bastard! I'm the one with the blue eyes white damn dragons! I should have won! Me! Me! Without looking at what he was doing, he reached into the box and removed the other item in it, a customized set of darts. He turned to the far wall of the vault, where he was hung a custom-made, well-used Yugi dartboard. He spent half an hour screaming at it and throwing darts, then just walked up and started punching it. He threw it on the floor and started jumping on it up and down, cursing like a drunk sailor and roaring insults that would have really pissed Yugi off had he had been there. Then, the very image of an icy, cold-hearted businessman, he hung the dartboard back on the wall, reorganized his deck, and put it back in the box beside the dart and left. He closed the door, which reactivated the entire security system. Back in the vault, the lasers hummed and the machine guns continued searching for anyone stupid enough to trip a laser or set off the sensors in the floor. Suddenly, however, the box containing Kaiba's deck began to shimmer and briefly glowed black. So he said an entire chapter of vault security porn, and then watching Kaiba throw a hissy fit. Yugi struggled not to kill himself. Oh, whoa! In game. Woo! You know what? That's good. We should end it there. I think we're good. We're good, everybody. There you go. That's all the fanfic reading I think my voice can take for this evening. Zetrix, thanks for the 5 gifted subs, by the way. Yes, indeed, that's the end of this bit. You're welcome, and I'm sorry. We'll continue tomorrow? Absolutely not. No, we're not. No, not going to continue tomorrow. No. I'm sorry there was so much Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, that was a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog. Let me know, YouTube, if you're watching the VOD and you got to this point of the stream all the way to the end. What was your favorite?
Thank you for making me laugh to the point I am in pain.
You know what? Good. As long as someone's laughing. As long as people are laughing and not just cringing, that's what I want. So what was your favorite, YouTube? What was the most upsetting? Which one did I do the best at? Which performance of mine did you like the most? And I'm gonna go.